Oh, everyone, welcome to Virtue Gaming Live. I am number two Ginger, joined by the Mac tonight for another best of three series. We have Virtue Gaming Grit versus Team Shadow Spectres in week two of Runeterra Academy Junior. Mac, it's a pleasure to be back with you again. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty well. It's good to be casting with you again. I'm pretty keen to see how this league gets to play out. I've not seen these teams yet, and it's pretty early on into the split as far as we've seen. So I want to see how these players evolve. Obviously, this is a junior league, so tons of potential for improvement here. This is where we get to see like players like grow and shine. So I'm really keen to see how we get into this. Early bans coming out. We can see some like priority bans like Vagar, Kindred. Quite a few of these players from these different teams do have like these safe comfort picks that they're trying to ban out as much as possible. At this point, I guess it's less so like meta picks and esports picks, and they're more trying to ban out what this person is very strong at this kind of level. So banning out these kind of like one trick like options, not necessarily one trick, but these options that these players are comfortable on, will kind of force these players out of their element and will show how they can adapt on the Rift and prove themselves to be better overall as a team, rather than can they play their champion better. So yeah.
Yeah, my camera is deciding not to focus, so I'm going to be blurry today. But for all those who are unaware, last time me and Matt casted, we were playing in a D1 plus Masters Cap League for Virtual Gaming Unity. Today, we are at a D4 Cap League with one D3 exception, so a bit lower level of play here. So, as you said, a bit more banning towards comfort rather than meta, as the lower you get, generally teams have their own picks. But Virtual Gaming Grit going to pick up Caitlyn as their first pick. Both teams here 1-0 coming into week two, so both teams looking to progress pretty far. I believe we have a 6-team group, or it might be 8 teams. It's an 8-team group for Runeterra Academy Junior. So I believe the bottom two of that group is going to get knocked out, and we go into a 24-team playoff with 4 groups. So both teams looking to get off to a good start. 2-0 should be pretty much cementing close to playoffs. 3-0 should guarantee playoffs. 3 wins should be the mark every team's going for. So both teams looking to get that early momentum as Zeri and Lulu are picked up for TSS.
Ooh, I really like this pick. So when we cast a few days back, I think we did comment on how Zeri was picked alongside a pick like Nautilus, but we felt like it didn't really enable Zeri's kind of snowbally play style, that really weak early that drafts really like into that oppressive, unkillable late. Zeri, Lulu, exactly what I want to see from these players. Now, Virtue Gaming Grit picking out the Zillion to try and counteract this. Now, the person who's playing on Virtue Gaming Grit as the support does have experience on Zillion, very proficient. This guy's going to be throwing some 4-pointers, I'm sure we'll see, from these players, and I really want to see how this plays out. Is bot lane kind of like a meta thing against each other, picking out the Caitlyn to counter the Zeri, etc., etc. Caitlyn was nerfed recently, completely not changed how she like functions at all. She's still ridiculously strong. Both of these bot lanes very, very strong. So we'll have to see like whether or not it's a skill matchup, see who is able to take out of this laning phase. Ari also picked up on the side of mid lane. Ari pretty good at the moment. Gun solo queue incredibly good at competitive play. She obviously all these buffs to her movement has made her a much more potent caster, an actual option that is viable against other like more mobile skirmishy picks or like burst picks. And to counter that, we're going to see the Lissandra, which I actually really like, being able to like slow down, stop this zooming around the map that we're going to see from these teams, and being able to be that harsh lockdown with that ultimate coming down. I like that a lot. Really good pick.
Yeah, big fan of the Zillion pick personally here. I feel like Zeri Lulu just feels like full scaling. So you answer with scaling yourself. You got a pick that's absolutely unleashed in the mid game, while Caitlyn can carry the lane on its own. The Ari pick blind, super interesting that they're priring that pick and just giving a counter over to TSS for free. So curious how Falson plays on that pick. Bans coming out here. Team Shadow Spectre is going to take out the Jarvan. Focus on the jungle, since a lot of solo lanes are picked. All we really have is jungle and top for both teams. So we're going to have to see how both teams kind of navigate here, as VG is going to most likely have to blind the top lane. I expect TSS to take a strong jungler on R4. So VG is going to have the initiative to take out whatever junglers they don't want to see, and TSS will have the remainder, whether that be Viego, Lee Sin, or something off meta and a little spicy, which is always a bit exciting to see.
I definitely expect to see a weak side top lane coming through from both top laners. I don't really think any team is going to really need to play around their top side. I think it's going to be a full bot lane game. Could be wrong, but that's what I would expect to see in this drafting phase. So expect to see your Orns, your Malphites, your Shens, etc., etc. Anything that's going to be enabling these carries in that mid to late game that is a fairly safe pick early, that's going to be able to hold its own and kind of basically play farming simulator top lane. So that's what I expect to see coming through. I really like these bans on these like a really early skirmishing junglers. You've got the Trundle, Jarvan, Xinjiao, and Olaf removed. So I'm not sure about the Olaf because he's not been quite good for a while. But I really like these picks overall. All of these junglers have been picked or banned previously from both of these games in their teams. So I did see the Viego ban hovered earlier, maybe a little bit apprehensive from Team Shadow Spectres, but they instead decide to lock in the Viego, maybe trying to look for an alternative carry source in case the Zeri does not snowball as expected. Viego will snowball incredibly hard in these team fights, and just being able to lock down one target with that Lissandra, getting you that reset, allowing you to spiral these things out of control, being able to take everything, getting these heartbreaker resets. That's what you want to look for in these team fights. You did mention the Zillion earlier, and I want to go back to that point. So Zillion is an incredible hyper carry support. So there's a very few supports that scale incredibly well into the late game. Zillion is one of them. I did see Team Shadow Spectres lock in that or hover that Yuumi earlier. Maybe if they had gone with the Yuumi, it would have been like a full late scaling bot lane, and I would have really liked to see that. Instead, opting with the Lulu, which obviously doesn't scale badly at all into the late, but I feel doesn't scale as well as Zillion. So Zillion was a really good answer here. We're seeing the Shen coming out from Virtue Gaming Grit, as I said, weak side top laner, allows you to support the bot lane with the nurse to teleport coming through as well. Shen's presence is even more like valuable, and we're going to see the Sion to answer that. I really like that pick, really good answer. Zac also incredibly strong jungler, does scale though, it takes a while to get going, so maybe looking for an overall late game skirmishing here. So we have to see how this early game plays out for both of these teams. Is who can snap up these early leads that allows them to push into this late game, allowing them to scale even faster. It's going to be a little bit tricky for both, but I really want to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I think I'm a fan of TSS's overall draft composition here coming out. The Zillion pick felt very nice, but when you pick Zillion, you need a champion that's going to scale really nicely and feel really good with those Zillion buffs when it comes to late game. And I feel like VG just doesn't have a champion that does that. Ahri is a mid-game spiker. It really is relying on herself. She doesn't need Zillion. Shen is a weak side top laner who's going to play for a hyper carry. And Kate is going to carry that early game. And she traditionally falls off mid-game decently hard and scales back into the late game okay, but not as great as something like Jinx or Aphelios. So I feel like they're going for this early game just punish, but at the same time, you don't have a whole composition dedicated to that. Zillion and Zac, as you said, scale, and they're not going to scale amazingly if they don't have a hyper carry to really go with that when they're going to be the B-falls. But on the side of TSS,
really good point.
They have great scaling. They have really good shutdown to any engage with Lulu, Lissandra, and even Sion. And yeah, like you said, the Sion pick, he just builds Hullbreaker, and whenever Shen leaves lane to ult, you're going to have 3 towers gone.
Inting Sion strat incoming in my pro game. I love to see it. But you've hit the nail on the head, Ginger. I'm not sure about the Caitlyn pick. Obviously, was first picked, kind of like that really safe bot lane first pick, very high prior in these pro games now. But as you said, the Zillion pick does not enable Kate. Okay, she does incredibly high late game damage. She is that in target lockdown. She is going to one-shot someone late game. But when you've got the things like the Lissandra Sion can mitigate these. Lulu will also be mitigating this issue. Good luck catching Zeri with an auto attack, even if you can click her if she's going that fast. Caitlyn was not the answer I wanted here. It's hard when you are first pick. I understand that from this team. I understand the logic going into this, but maybe we could have looked for a Jinx angle. Jinx being left open and not picked, very shocking to me. Jinx is one of the strongest ADCs in the game at this moment. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that. I don't think that's particularly shocking information for anyone. Jinx would have been really good here. Aphelios, even. I'm maybe not into this team because they've got a lot of lockdown with Viego, Lissandra, that kind of stuff, but Aphelios could have been a really good answer with the Zillion scales really well. Honestly, I just don't think that Caitlyn was the pick. I think you hit the nail on the head here, Ginger. I agree with you completely.
I mean, I personally don't think Caitlyn's the problem. I think the problem is if you're picking Caitlyn, you need to build the composition around it, and they picked Zillion like they didn't have a Caitlyn. So coming into it, maybe the plan was just incorrect in my opinion. I feel like Zillion pairs better. You know, Zeri Lulu, I think we both agree is complete scaling. Zeri's weakness is lane. Lulu also needs some time to get out of lane a little bit. So you answer that with hyperscaling of your own. Jinx Zillion. You can coin flip which team is going to scale better. They both scale well. The Ahri pick also is another missed opportunity, I feel. Ahri, again, is going to be this early to mid-game spike. Instead, you have, these hyper carries available. You have something like Victor's banned, but you still have Corki, you still have Ryze, you have Orianna. You could even do something crazy like Vlad. and in the end, let's say that's not an opportunity. Okay, you still have a top laner that you could just, play for. In the end, you feel like you missed up draft a little bit, but you still have a chance. You have Camille available. Akshan, I mean, I can name
Gwen was
Gwen as
available.
well. Gwen as well.
Gwen would have been a really good answer
Oh.
into the Sun if they expected that. Obviously, the Sun was a counter pick to the Shen, but Gwen
Mhm.
being available would have opened up the game big time. Gwen Zillion probably going to shred people late game, ridiculously strong. You could have
Mhm.
chosen any carry top lane that would have like scaled pretty well. I don't think Gwen would have been a bad pick here, even if it was supposed to be played around this bot side and you are playing for this Caitlyn. I think Gwen would have been a perfectly fine pick here. As you said, Camille, maybe a bit on the weak side at the moment, but still an incredibly potent pick, especially in organized play. Maybe bringing out something like the Graves that does naturally very well top lane. Pretty
Mhm.
much handles itself in every lane phase. Doesn't really need much babysitting. Very few counters. I think Jax is one of the few I can think of off the top of my head. Hell, throw in a Yorick, throw in an Aatrox. I don't care. Anything could have been more sustaining than the Shen. I don't think the Shen was the answer here. I understood the plan, but I don't think these guys read the assignment.
Yeah, I mean, you could, even though Lee Sin is open too, right? Like, imagine instead of Zach Shen, we go Lee Sin Gwen. Like, not even that the
Ooh, I
champions
like
are
that.
just
Yeah, I like that a lot.
like the champions themselves just have so much more proactive ability and priority plays compared to Zach Shen, where you just have these, safer scaling tanks that feel like you're not going for the win, right? You're playing safe. You're taking the safe picks where, especially in these lower elo games where you really want to see some team like take the initiative and say, we're better. We're better than, this ranked league, and we want to prove that we can win. Oftentimes the teams are like at a much higher skill than the rank cap. You got to really show it. And when you're playing more reactive, it can be a bit tougher.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to see how this plays out. Obviously, it's hard to know now. We're commenting on this without the
Of
element
course, yeah.
of foresight. Like we can't see all these judgments. I harken back to the game that we cast Wednesday, I believe, where we saw an odd pick in the mid lane that we didn't think would work out, and it ended up completely snowballing, taking them out of the game. So we predicted wrong in that champ select. We predicted wrong early. So we could be predicting wrong here. This Caitlyn could go nuts for all we know. So we'll have to see how it plays out at the end of the day, because it's all right talking about draft, but it is the players at the end of the day who need to make this happen. So let's talk a bit more about Team Shadow Spectres while we have a little bit of time. Why does this comp work, in your opinion, Ginger?
Well, I mean, you're taking the Zeri Lulu, right? And it's just a scaling lane. They're understanding they're going to be punished from Caitlyn, but the Lulu is a nice reaction to that. So you're playing for the Zeri generally when you pick Zeri. But the Lissandra is, I don't think that would be my answer. To Ari personally, it's a very safe pick, a very defensive pick. That's something you'd pick into like LeBlanc. But again, it's just safety for the Zeri. It's more frontline for her to be unleashed. And Lissandra is also just a great answer for the Ari and the Zillion to lock them down and make sure they cannot move anywhere. Same thing for the Viego. You're blinding a jungler. All these junglers are gone. It's either Lee Sin or Viego there. I personally would lean towards Lee Sin. I like the more proactive jungler, but Viego's fine too. And again, VG has to come into them. Ari, Zach, and Shen are all diving in. Viego does great on counterplays. And Sion to answer into the Shen gives another beefy front line for a reset for Viego to make sure Zeri can be, again, unleashed in absolute menace in these fights. And I think taking a heavy split push into Shen is always a great option. Sion with Hullbreaker is pretty disgusting to just take down towers and absolutely make sure Shen is top there matching him. And, Shen can beat Sion fine in the 1v1, but Shen doesn't want to be top permanently.
Yeah, absolutely. Shen, not really an early game character, but still generally can skirmish in these lane phases versus the other tank picks. I like the Viego a bit more than the Lee Sin here. I think having an alternate carry instead of Zeri here isn't necessarily a bad option if the bot lane does fall short. You have this Viego that is pretty much guaranteed to win a team fight if you can get one pick. You don't even need more than that. You can just gang up on one person. Lissandra ults, Sion charges in from across the map, boom, you've CC'd that person, Viego kills him, then come the Heartbreaker resets as I mentioned earlier. You don't really need that Zeri to be ahead to win these team fights. The Viego gives you that security and backup if your bot lane does end up falling short in the early game. So I really do like that pick. The Lissandra you say as a pick to LeBlanc. Now LeBlanc has fallen slightly out of the competitive meta recently with some nerfs. Very minor, but I do think it affects her in a great way. It affects her wave clear, burst damage, etc, etc. Ari, I'm not going to say he's the new LeBlanc because she's definitely not as powerful early as LeBlanc has, doesn't have that same pressure, but definitely picked in a similar vein to LeBlanc in terms of what you're looking for. So maybe the Lissandra pick wasn't necessarily bad in terms of that raw lockdown, being able to have her chained up essentially and being able to pick her off in a team fight. Same with Lissandra into the Zillion. Zillion, you really want to be removing first in a late game team fight. Do not let that old man let your team sprint, let the enemy team sprint around. You're not going to be able to catch him. He's reviving everyone. Again, 4-pointers. This good Zillion player will stun your entire team somehow. And Lissandra gives you a really easy way to answer that. And even though Zeri's going to be going turbo fast, Zillion's going to be making your enemy team go just as fast. So you want to remove that option ASAP. We've not really talked about the Zac. How do you feel about? Oh, are we getting into the game now? Never mind. Let's have a look at the game before we start getting into the game.
I will give you my screen, sir. But we did have quite a lot to say about that draft. So we skipped right over the spectator delay, right over in a game client, but do want to shout out that we have reached our Twitch follower goal of 69 followers, so that will be updated for the next time we hit intermission screen. Thank you all for following. I believe we got 2 new followers on the stream. Vote in chat what you think the next follower goal should be. My vote is 420, but we're open to any submission. Let me know. But anyway, Mac, we are straight in game. As you said, both teams looking on a 5-point, and I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see what's going on, and I am excited to see which team could take it out.
A little bit of early trading in the mid. Kind of silly for Lissandra to be stepping forward here. Ari's damage a lot moved now into the W, so it's very safe for Ari to be maxing this W early. I've seen some funny Ari AD bot lanes recently that have just been playing off of these high base values, having really good mixed damage. But generally, yeah, pretty even split. Both junglers, only one jungler choosing to get this early ward pressure for Vision. But Viego is starting on the blue side, and Zac starting a solo clear on the blue side, so maybe giving a teeny bit more autonomy to the bot lane. Not certain about that, but maybe he's trying to do an overall like full clear here, being able to path into that bot lane for that level 3 gank. Nothing too exciting going to be happening here in that early. Again, as I stated earlier, pretty safe overall. Weak side top, etc, etc. Maybe a little bit of early skirmishing level 1, but I doubt you're going to see too much action until we hit about level 3.
Yeah, it's going to be some tanks slapping each other. Shun does do a lot of big slap damage. In the bot lane, both teams have exhaust on the support, so pretty hard for either team to really be aggressive. It's going to be all on 20 bucks name on that Caitlyn to take up the kills. Terry takes a nice trade up in the top lane, hits that level 2 spike. TSS is going to walk that one out, but Shen is a bit of a bully early game, so some nice trades for Terra.
So both junglers looking here to do a full clear. I think they understand what they are both are. They are both essentially scaling. No one's going to be looking to make these really drastic early plays. Maybe Zac looks to forgo. Raptors does a top side clear into red, into gank, but doesn't really have that same pressure. Bot lane is shoved forward. So can't really look for any of these crazy plays at the moment. I want to point out the choice of rune here on Lissandra. Instead of going for something a bit more defensive, it's like a frontline option, e.g. Aftershock or some early poke. The Electrocute very much playing into that burst heavy playstyle here that we're expecting, wanting to like lock down and burst down these units as much as possible. Nothing too crazy. Yeah. Any comments, Ginger?
Yeah, I mean, Electrocute is pretty normal. A lot of times into like super early bullies, you might take Aftershock. Like you said, the LeBlanc matchup, a lot of Lissandras will take Aftershock. But Ari really doesn't have much kill threat as long as you dodge the skill shots, obviously. So it's more of like, you know, not afraid and like, you know, just being standard. Yeah. Everyone's at the same skill level here theoretically, so you shouldn't have any reason to be afraid of Falston specifically, and I think it's a fine choice. And we'll give some extra kill threat. You know, getting that ultimate at level 6, Viego hovering right by, I think it's very easy to blow up Falston if he's not respecting it.
Yeah. Let's talk briefly about Mad Plague. So last week, I believe that Mad Plague was not playing for the team. It was just joshing, but he stepped out recently, so we'll have to see how Mad Plague plays up. Speaking of action in the bot lane.
Yeah, fight coming in the bot lane is Invane's looking to go aggressive. This might be a nice bait out from Vegito. Invane taken low from 20 bucks name. A great play. Flash coming out from Invane to dodge the sling there, so he's not going to be stunned up. And another flash coming in from Boner Saw. It's going to be double flash in the bot lane. One exhaust was saved. Every other sum was used, so nice early play from the Izonator there.
I did not realize that was called Bonusaur. I'm not gonna lie to you. I just thought it was a Bonusaur.
I am very excited. Okay, TSS 360 though in a really awkward spot in the top lane, but now we have another fight in the bot lane as TSS Gabo is here to look for the play. Not gonna find it, and somehow 360 actually got off in the top lane there. Tara looking for the taunt, not going to land it, but we calm down a little bit.
Okay, a lot of skirmishing here early. Both teams really looking for that lead. Maybe another thing exploding bot lane here.
Nah, just get that wave pushed out.
Ah, okay, I see, I see. It's really nice to see these teams trying to take these early gambles, trying to look for as many advantages as possible, both understanding exactly what they are required to do here, understanding what their overall game plan is, playing all around these bot sides, a little gank mid lane.
A nice flash coming out from Alpha Day to dodge a slingshot in from the Isonator, but this early pressure from the Zac is proving pretty punishing as so many sums are already down.
Unlucky that Ari whiffs the charm there. Maybe could have got a bit more out of that if she had not. But Ari pretty low on mana, maybe not enough damage at the moment to burst her down and secure that kill. But generally pretty nice gank from Zac. You'll only see that get stronger and stronger as he goes up. That E slingshot range really going to show in a few minutes how easy these ganks are on Zac. And there's a pause coming through.
Yeah, it looks like we are getting a pause out. We will transition back over to our beautiful faces while that pause gets resolved, and that pause was immediately resolved. Whoops, I'm going to transition immediately back to caster desk. Common spectator bug is that whenever it pauses, it's going to buffer for a bit. So I'm going to give that about 20 seconds to catch up. But let's talk about this early pressure from the Isonator here, getting a lot of flashes out early. How do you think that's going to affect the rest of the early game?
Maybe you could look for more advantages throughout the early state. Obviously, with these flashes down, it leaves them a lot more open to these ganks. These are pretty standard things in terms of basic league knowledge, but it's really good to see these down this early. You do not want to be blowing flashes this early into the game when you are this vulnerable pre-6, and then when you start hitting these power spikes, things start getting a little bit more scary if you're more immobile units, right? So when you start going up against these heavy lockdown characters, it can be very, very hard for you to keep up without these flashes and this mobility. Really well played from Isonator.
Yeah, and just for clarity for all our longtime viewers, VG the Isonator is still VG Izzo. He just decided a name change, and 20 bucks name is Snowfall from week 1. Everyone decided to change their name to VG Mad Plague in celebration of the new support, and the Repair Academy didn't like that a lot, so everyone changed their names back. So the only new player is Mad Plague, as Just Joshing has retired from the team.
Interesting naming convention. Would have been hard to cast a game where everyone is called Mad Plague, but I would have envied the opportunity and enjoyed the challenge. So kind of disappointed that didn't get seen through, but alas, it happens. But yeah, really excited to see how this new support plays out. Seems to be skirmishing pretty well in this early game, applying a lot of that pressure. Charm coming down mid. Yeah,
nice play from Falson there to get a big chunk out. Alpha D still has TP up, though. It looks like Falson did TP back. So TP advantage coming out in the mid lane for TSS. We'll see if that has any impact here. But it looks like TSS Gabo is hovering onto Terra. Only Terra is aware of this. Going to drop the auto attack blocker. Taunts away into immediate flash. Nice double taunt there to make sure he can get out. Stun comes through from Gabo. 360 still has ultimate here. Is he going to pop it onto Terra? Terra has no flash. But I don't think TSS 360 had the mana there. So Terra is going to survive as Izzo's going to look to trade over Dragon.
Unlucky there. Viego has the Heartbreaker. Probably secures the kill there, but unfortunately just hasn't fallen enough out of love yet to get that Heartbreaker. So we aren't going to see any crazy explosive plays yet. Might have been a really good lead, but both teams are on a pretty good stalemate. Although VG is having a slight gold lead here, almost 1k, which is actually pretty big in the early game now I think about it. I say slight, but that could spiral out of control if not dealt with. Also being able to counter jungle here, trying to match Viego's counter jungling, knowing that he has this pressure, etc, etc. Maybe looking for a play here.
Yeah, there goes Isn't with a slingshot. And remember, no Suns in this bot lane. That is going to be Boner Saw going down first blood over to 20 bucks name with a nice headshot on the net. Well played from the Isonator to make something happen early.
Really good. And that just proves more and more that Izzo sees to be the difference. Maybe looking again for the slingshot.
Oh, blind swing shot onto the Invade, and there it comes, the sniper headshot from 20 bucks name. A double kill now onto 20 bucks name, and this might be the beginning of a snowball for VG.
This is what we want to see from that Caitlyn pick, though. This is exactly why they picked that Caitlyn into Zeri, or just the first pick Caitlyn. Maybe didn't pick it into Zeri, of course, but this is why you see this played, because it allows you to have this early kind of pressure. You start snowballing, and that thing is going to start one-shotting your more squishy units. You don't really have any crazy tankiness in this bot lane, so you're going to start struggling really badly here. Maybe looking for a play mid lane, getting a little bit too cocky here, Folson.
Yeah.
No, he's respecting.
Here comes the ultimate out from Alpha Day, but he doesn't pop it. He lets Falson dash away in time with the Spirit Rush, and, you know, this is the play that I think TSS should be looking for the ultimate onto False and get that instant lockdown. Here comes a slingshot over on Alpha. They're going to get locked up. Ult himself, but here comes Stand United in from Terra, looking for the play onto Alpha Day. Alpha Day is going to go down. A nice play out from VG to counter gank and save Falsen from disaster.
Yeah, not bad. I think Folson maybe playing a bit more cocky there on purpose, understanding he does have the backup of his team. The Stand United was ready. Izzo was nearby. He did maybe understand that Lysandra playing a bit more aggressive there was giving away the fact that he was getting ganked. Really well played. Good to see it. Izzo is honestly just being the difference here as part of the team. Has 100% kill pressure right now. Obviously, it's early game, so kind of not too crazy in terms of like, oh wow, stats, he's 100% kill pressure. But I think he's been the guy who's been making all of these different plays happen. Really been putting in the effort here. Zach getting a lot of work in. For someone who's not supposed to be like this early game jungler, when you're going up against something like Viego, you can afford to play this aggressive without being matched by something as strong as this Lee Sin, Jarvan, Xin. So you can afford to like try and take these early trades and get away with it because you will be stronger than that Viego pre-6. Really good repeat gank on the bot, by the way, after he killed Lulu. After Bonusaur was ready, was taken down. Prepared to dive in vain. Has the passive ready. He's not scared at all. Obviously can't do any cheesy blob strats anymore because Unleash Teleport is not available until level 14. But he was absolutely not afraid of dying. That child coming down from Folson in mid, but not really going to do anything with it. But yeah, Izzo is crazy right now, and I love to see it. I want to see more of this man. I want to see him go. I want to see these late game team fights. I want to see how this man gets these picks. What do you feel about that, Ginger?
Yeah, I mean, if you're... Oh, Spirit Rush coming in from False in there is going to miss the charm, so kill's not going to come out, but a nice aggressive play looking for the kill. But yeah, I mean, if you're in Gabo's troops here, you know, the hard part about being Viego is you do want to counter gank, and it seems like Gabo just hasn't done a good job of tracking the Isonator so far and figuring out where he's going to be. If Viego is here to counter gank after the initial slingshot, you know, Zach has no way of getting out, and that should be a very, very easy kill into a reset. But fortunately for Izzo, he's been able to conceal where he's been, gank away from the Viego, and, you know, from there, you have a 2-0 Caitlyn, which is exactly what we talked about in the pregame. You need to play through this Caitlyn and end the game early, because you do not scale late compared to a Zeri, Lulu, Viego. So this is the kind of pace we need to see from Grit, and I'm hoping Izzo keeps the pressure up.
Mythic's coming down on the side of VGG here. You see the Everfrost, the counter gank.
Here comes the engage. Izzo looking for the Gabo. He gets the slingshot. Gonna flash in for the party time here. Gonna be a heartbreaker over the wall, though, from Gabo to get out of that one with the flash. So doesn't want to mess with the 1-0-2 Isonator, who already has a mythic item. Nice escape there in a ill-advised attempt gank.
Honestly, it's kind of just proving that unfortunately Izzo is inside Gabo's head right now. It is really hard for Viego to play this game, not quite being as proactive as I'd like to see from this Viego. Obviously trying to counter jungle this Zac. Maybe could have been a bit stronger in the early game, giving you that lead, but now I think it's really, really hard for Gabo. They really need to play around these like group fights and these team fights.
Oh, maybe a dive
coming down.
Invain pops the ultimate here, looking for Mavplay. Mavplay going down really low, doesn't pop his ultimate. Nice discipline there. The Reptile charges in, so plate's only going over to Isonator there. No gold going over to 20 bucks name or Mad Plague. Mad Plague is real low. His 20 bucks Plague setting up super aggressively here. Misses the net for the headshot, but here comes the ultimate. Slingshot coming out as well. Now they're diving. 1v3. Tower's about to go down. They're going to focus that down so there's no more tower, and Blue Team's going to pick that one up here as now Gabo is trying to 1v4, but the ultimate's on Isonator. However, he takes out Mad Plague. He gets the reset. He should be able to dash out of there, but he's not, as Falson has the Spirit Rush forward to pick up the kill. First tower going down for GG, and a big influx of gold.
Whilst that was a really good play from VGG there, I'm a little confused about that Zillionaut. Maybe could have saved it for himself. The Zillionaut on the Zac, when Zac already has passive up, seems like a waste, especially when you know you're as low as that and you're as squishy as that. Viego can and will dive onto you regardless of whether or not he has Heartbreaker. Was able to lock him down and get that kill, so it's not a complete disaster from the side of Team Shadow Spectres there. Gabo able to take something as he is taken down. Slight misplay from Mad Plague, but hey, it's his first game in the league, so it's to be expected. We're going to see him warm up. We'll see him come through in these late team fights. He's already been doing great in the slating phase. I've basically not seen him like whiff these stuns that much, so it's been nice to see him be a bit more proactive. We'll give him that one. But overall, really well played from BGG here. Really good gank.
Yeah, so far this, as I was going to say that, looks like a lockdown coming into the mid lane as Mad Plague was not able to follow up with the CC himself. Alpha goes in with 1 HP on his claw. Bit aggressive there, was able to walk that one out after burning Flash. 20 bucks name not going to use his Gale Force in, not going to be able to finish anyone out. I was going to say that this Lissandra pick has not been it so far. It's Ari. It was supposed to be the counter pick, but it seems like Falson has had full control of this lane.
Yeah, I don't know how. Folson's been, okay, he's been applying a lot of pressure with these combos, but I've seen him with a fair amount of charms, so I feel like Alfede could have been a bit more proactive in terms of trying to punish him for those, but obviously with Lissandra, what can you do, right? What can you do when you're literally supposed to be an anti-carry unit here? So maybe not the greatest pick. Maybe we'll see her usage a bit more when it comes to these late game team fights when you're locking down these carries. That's what I'd hope to see. Maybe that's what this pick is for in the first place. Maybe not built to win this lane, but you'd think we'd see a little bit more pressure than what we are seeing right now.
Yeah, but I mean, up at this top side, we are seeing 360 getting this top lane pressure we were talking about. He's gotten the first tower by himself. He's gotten that Hullbreaker completed. It's very hard for Terra to deal with on his own, being left on an island. So it is going to be a threat that VG's going to have to find a way to deal with somehow in this game. And they don't really have any great side lane answer into him, especially with those Merc Treads now. Really not going well for VG in that regard, since they do have 4 magic damage champions. Mid lane tower going to go over to VG here, which is a nice, huge snowball in their favor. A slingshot comes out, going to miss the little grab there. It's not going to be able to finish off in vain. But really, really good early push here from VG as they're looking like to go farther. Volson goes for the Spirit Rush and he lands the charm on to Boner Saw. And Boner Saw is gone, my friend. There goes TSS Gabo right after another Spirit Rush and ultimate coming out from 20 bucks. Name is not going to finish him off. This was blocked by Invane. Looks like Azo did pop his passive there. 20 bucks name Gale forces in to finish off Invade for stepping up a little bit too far. It's an absolute disaster for TSS as VGG is just running over the mid lane.
Really, really excellent engaged play from Folsom there. Obviously, Izzo was the person to start it, but Folsom was the person to like make it happen. And honestly, really well played by 20 bucks name there for reacting to Invade not respecting how much pressure that VGG had. Honestly, a little bit of a misplay there. Should have respected the fact that he was going to get burst there. You're against Caitlyn of all things, best single target burst on any ADC in the entire game. So to be stepping that far forward, little bit silly on
20 bucks name actually getting caught out here though. Alpha doesn't have flash. He can't get in close enough, but the red buff is being applied by Gabo. The trap stops Alpha in his spot, but I don't think Gabo... Oh, there comes the Stand United to actually save 20 bucks name from the finish from TSS Gabo. That was a huge ultimate by Terra to save his ADC's life, who has a 400 gold shutdown.
Oh, now that is unfortunate that Alpha is stepping on that trap there. Would have definitely secured the kill had not. It's difficult there. Speaking of ADC stepping forward, 20 bucks name being that far forward, little bit too cocky. Very, very lucky that they did draft this Shen to make up for these mistakes, play around this hyper carry. Really, really good ult there from Terra. A little bit scary there for 20 bucks name, especially without that much vision control. You do not have vision control in that area. You could see, well, you could see people coming in from the red side, but you do not have the vision control mid there. You're able to get caught out like that, and you do not have flash, but ends up getting away with it.
Terra's running in the wrong direction here. He's running into TSS, doing this Rift Herald. Terra does have flash, and he's going to instantly flash over. He'll realize his mistakes and accept that he should not have been pathing away from his team there. And that is Rift Herald picked up for TSS. So a nice little trade, although it is a pretty late Rift Herald, so no plates are going to unfortunately be able to drop from that.
I don't think that was the worst pathing there. If he'd gone all the way around, then there's a chance that they could have stopped Rifthold and tried to pincer him in, and then he can't flash away from that, right? But if he goes down there and he knows that he will eventually burn that flash in this escape, then that is the safest option, as he cannot be followed immediately over the wall without burning more enemy resources, e.g. Heartbreaker, Flash, etc., etc. So maybe not the worst escape attempt there, but shouldn't have been that far forward in the first place.
Yeah, it looks like Virtual Gaming Grit is going to take this dragon for free, and in return, it looks like TSS is going to just push right down this top lane. They do have the Rift Herald available. They could probably take an 18-minute inhibitor if they really wanted to here with the Hullbreaker at the Rift Herald.
They have the Sion ult as well. They have the Sion ult. So
if they manage
to get this inhibitor, there is a chance they can get some massive damage down on these two towers. I would not expect to see anything. I would not expect to see the Sion ult come out, but if they do, that is ballsy, and I want to see it.
I mean, well played from TSS. So I don't know if it's mathematically the right decision there, as Falston is going aggressive, gets the charm onto 360. That's not the target you want, as he will eventually be able to just ulti out. He has flash as well. I think, yeah, he's just going to walk this one out, and there is the ultimate. So no kill picked up there. Now, this top lane is going to take a lot of attention away from VG's push, as now Isnator's diving onto Invane. Invane immediately flashes away, but it doesn't matter, as Isnator's here to auto-attack the turret to get the pull back. TP's going to come up from Alpha to try to finish anyone off. I don't know if he's going to be able to. He has the flash. He might look for it. Flash W gets into Everfrost's root, but not enough damage initially. Has the claw coming through. He's going to jump onto 20 bucks name. One auto's going to do it. That's a big shutdown over to Alpha Day.
That was messy, but it's very well played on Alpha Day, being able to clean up, react, and teleport to that situation. Again, I feel like this is a situation where Invane is stepping a bit too far forward, but what can you do when it's under your own tower, right? Your team is obviously doing that great split push play, and that is the Sion pick that we expected to see. That is what we expect to see, is the counter measure for this hyper carry on the side of BGG. TSS playing really smartly through that top lane with the Rift Herald, the Song, getting that early inhibitor, really early inhibitor, by the way. Unlucky for Invane, you are an ADC underneath your tower who is not fed, so it's GG for you, right? But really well reactive TP there from Alpha Day, and good that that shutdown is able to go onto someone who needs to be a bit more proactive in these team fights, the person that needs to be making the difference. And Alpha Day with the Lissandra ult needs to be that person. Oh, here we go again with the
360.
Sion, by the way. Oh my god, it's so disgusting, right?
It's like, the question really is like, how does VG continuously clear top lane? Because you kind of want Terra matching 360. So then your only one that can clear the wave is really 20 bucks name, because Ari sure as hell cannot clear super minions very well without using all of her mana. And 360, you know, he's already 2 items. Terra just finished his Hullbreaker himself, so he is feeling the pain. And look at this collapse right now from Alpha Day onto Terra. He's going to go in, gets the root. Is going to probably drop the Glacial Tomb as well, but that's Heartbreaker coming through, and that's Terra just going down, and more towers are going to fall as Virtue Game Grid's not reacting at all. As it was in his top side, 20 bucks team was dedicated to the top wave, and it looks like Falston also has to match the 2 members mid, so it's just an absolute macro show right now from TSS.
I would say this looks like a solo queue game, but I don't think that would be putting enough respect on Team Shadow Spectres here being able to catch up this massive gold deficit they were at. This is incredibly smart play, and whilst it might look very silly to like the average onlooker, like this isn't my esports, this is genius. This is really smart macro play, being able to match these people, understanding they don't have the wave clear to be able to stop the super minions, and this push when you have your one carry dealing with the wave. Who's going to deal with the rest of the team that is pushing, right? Because that Caitlyn sure as hell can shut these people down. But what is she doing? Clearing waves in the top lane. And that's not necessarily 20 bucks name's fault, but that is more Team Shadow Spectres playing very smartly around this carry. And honestly, I expect them to be getting this inhibitor, making it even more hard to play, and then just barreling it down mid, to be honest. Getting all of these inhibitors at once, because their objective control is genuinely so much better right now than BGG.
Yeah, it looks like a fight's going to pull off mid as 360's going for this tower. Slingshot comes in, doesn't land on anyone but 360, and that's going to be 360 getting locked up here. Do they have the damage? Sandy Knight's coming in on the Isonator. I think 360 is probably going to go down here eventually. Looks like the Unstoppable Force isn't going to get out as Isonator blocks, and Terra going forward here, and 360 is the one man going down for the mid lane tower, but as a Scion, you are the inting Scion. I think could take a tower for a death any single day.
Well, we say Inting San. That was the first time this guy died all game. I'm actually really impressed, especially into that Shen matchup. Really smart play coming through.
Does VG want to do Baron here?
I don't think they can. I think this is a really bad call, personally.
I think VG should be getting vision in the bot side right now. They have Soul coming up in a minute, but they're forcing this Baron in a 4v5 situation. I think, okay, they immediately regret their decision.
Yeah, no, I think it was trying to be a smart bait here, trying to catch people out. Maybe this Viego stepping forward.
Look at top.
I would say that if they weren't all running back, because they have to deal with that wave. The
coming
through.
What's going on?
Oh, they're going to have to send people back to deal with this. Caitlyn's on her way there. Sion immediately has to run out because they realize, we're getting matched here. But applying that scary pressure, forcing them away from Dragon, forcing 2 backs here. 3 almost. Obviously, the reset coming through from Dragon, but you've now relinquished all of this vision control. Team Shadow Spectres has this advantage going into this Dragon fight, stealing away the red buff there from Zeri. Very nicely played by Izzo. But wow, I love this. I love this weird ult play style that we're seeing here. It's definitely way more unique than I was expecting from your standard kind of gameplay style in esports, as you say. Sorry.
Dragon spawns in 5 seconds. Terra can't deal with 360 here. Terra has no stand united, so VG just has to take a straight 4v4.
But he does have the teleport. He does have the teleport.
He has a teleport, but I don't think he can. I think 360 is just going to stay on top of him the whole time. We're watching this, but the whole time I want to see all manual camera. And here comes the pick onto Invane. Invane is going to get taken down there, as now it's going to be top lane getting taken down as well. Terra is going to be forced out as inhibitors coming down back by the dragon fight. VG should be able to secure this soul for themselves for Infernal Drag. Gable's going aggressive. There comes the play from Alpha Day going in. Mad Plague is going to ult himself. Gable flashes forward looking for the finish, but the Heartbreaker gets canceled. Alpha Day is now in a 2v4 situation. Takes down Mad Plague, but it's going to be flash forward. 360 meanwhile this whole time is just taking the inhibitor away from Terra. That is going to be soul going down for VG. They do get a really nice pickup there to accelerate the game, but Terra is again just eating the damage from 360. He's trying to trade back. He's doing pretty well at it. They both have hull breakers, so they're both literally unkillable. 360 decides that he doesn't care anymore and goes for the towers. Now going to fight Terra again, looking for the slam. Is going to miss as Terra gets the taunt out. The last autos, they're both down to 1 HP, and they decide not to kill each other. Amazing fight as VG now goes for Baron, since all of TSS is dead. It looks like Baron should be able to go over. Oh, there goes the taunt. That might be the kill onto TSS. It is Terra with the soul kill. Terra's the best top laner in the game. Going for the towers now. Instinct straight for them. I don't think he's going to be able to do much damage. 360. Tried his best.
Down, though.
Demolished down, and that is Baron going over to Virtue Gaming Grit now with a 5,000 gold lead at 24 minutes with Soul.
Okay, so 20 Bucks name doing an excellent job there, sniping this area to start of the team fight. Now, Caitlyn isn't necessarily known for her great AoE teamfight presence, but what VGG did a really good job was isolating all of these fights so Caitlyn can pick everything off one by one. I really like that they did not allow Team Shadow Spectres to be able to collapse on top of these targets on VGG, and I really like that. The Viego desperately trying to get a reset there, but Zillion's just going, oh no, you can't get that. I've got my ult up. You're not getting that reset. Watching the most intense and yet slowest 1v1 top lane there, very amusing. Does end up scooping the Baron, so that gives BGG a huge advantage here, whilst Team Shadow Spectres were looking pretty good with that overall split push play here. Not looking so good now at a 5k deficit objective. Bounties are up for the side of Team Shadow Spectres.
Isn't it looking for the engage or slingshot in the 1v3 situation? I don't know if that was very advisable. It goes down super low. Isn't gonna fall thanks to Mad Plague with the speed up and a nice stun for the disengage as well. Ulti coming out for 20 bucks name. That is Falson now dashing with the Spirit Rush, looking for a play, gets the charm. Alpha Day has to ult himself. Now Gabo's in a 1v3 situation. Falson looking for the cleanup. All of TSS is super low. 360 and meanwhile, slow pushing in the bot lane. Terra's going to be there to match him, so he's not going to be able to get too much known. Now VGG looking for the push onto mid lane, looking to break open the base, get the tower, maybe get the inhibitor as well, as CSS is forced into their own base. 360 in the meantime is getting matched by Terra now, and with this Infernal Soul, Terra is able to push 360 out very nicely along with the Baron buff minions. So Baron being a big factor here, and it looks like VG just gets inhibitor.
Well, I just want to mention quickly why VGG is honestly profiting so well after getting that dragon here. Infernal Soul really amplifies this, you know, burst down single target damage that we're seeing from Caitlyn. It's really hard for Team Shadow Spectres to match this or get on top of anything here. I'm not sure what the win con is here for Team Shadow Spectres, because their split push play kind of up. Now they're kind of getting shafted by VGG, understanding when they're able to take these leads back, trying to match this energy we see from Team Shadow Spectres. Desperately seeing this Scion try and 1v1 Terra again. I love to see it.
Yeah, this is the big fight as 360 is actually getting really down here. Alpha Day is going to ulti himself as Isner look for the slingshot. Double stun's going to come out, and that's so much damage on Alpha Day. Going to go down immediately. Even the Boner Saw cannot save him now. CSS 360 is no longer able to match Terra. The Shen in the top lane has become a menace. Charm is going to come out from False and Spirit Rush. Does not land, but the Infernal Soul alone with the Spirit Rush is doing so much damage. And now Terra's going for the turret dive himself onto 360. He is feeling himself, certainly finishing that second item. Even though 360 is a whole item ahead of Terra, the Shen just does so much % health damage to this Scion with the Infernal Soul as well. That's top inhibitor falling now, and VG has one more inhibitor to go before they mow the entire lawn and take the entire base.
Now, I feel like we should talk a bit more about Ahri's presence here. Now, Ahri has a pretty good KP overall, has been involved in quite a few of these kills in the game. Now Ari, again, obviously pretty decent carry, safe mid-game scaling pick. Does okay lane phase Y, kind of not the craziest, but into this pick of Lissandra, not bad at all. Now Folson playing pretty smart, but a lot of his skill shots being thrown into the wind, as I'm sure you have noticed, Ginger. But honestly, on Ari right now in her current state, it doesn't matter. A lot of her damage has been loaded into this W, into this ult, her Spirit Rush. So it means that her Q and her E are much, much less impactful than we saw in other patches. So able to just dive in there, put a ton of damage and on single target, dash out. Doesn't even matter if anything really hits.
Oh, there's Terra on the
God,
flank of 360. He gets the flash taunt in front of him. 360, you have nowhere to go, my friend. And although you have been the MVP for TSS, your team has kind of fallen apart while you have taken the base. And this is looking like the beginning of the end for Team Shadow Spectres, as Virtue Gaming Grit now has no backdoor menace to worry about. They're going to push in through the bot lane. Zach looking for the slingshot. The Isonator going to fly over the wall right onto Invane, but Invane dashes away 200 years, kind of champion, but gets pulled immediately back, gets blown up. Falson diving in, and it looks like Mad Plague was the target, but immediately gets that resurrect to deny the Viego any sort of resets here. Now Alpha Day is going to be the next target. Double kill already for Falson. 20 bucks name taking out Alpha Day, and it's a 1v5 situation for TSS Games. He's not able to do it. Virtue Gaming Grit going to take down game 1.
Well, well played Yi to the side of VG Grit. Unfortunately, 360's Scion was not enough. Really, really well played. Expected to see a little bit more from Team Shadow Spectres in this early game, but honestly, really, really well played by VG. Great first game coming through. Really excited. What do you think about that game, Ginger?
Yeah, awesome play by VG there. You know, we pointed out pregame that the main win con is going to be snowballing that Caitlyn early, and that's exactly what the Isonator made sure to do. Got 20 bucks named 2 really early kills, and you know it was on. Gabo was on, had to be there to get these counter yanks and make sure this couldn't happen. It was very obvious what the win con for Grit was. They were still able to make it happen. Great play by 20 bucks name, taking his lead and snowballing it, and fantastic job by the Isonator to really push his lead. And you know I want to shout at Falson as well. You feel like he blinded his lane. He gave TSS counter pick, and he still won his lane. I mean, what else could you ask for?
Oh, absolutely. I really, I'm just impressed. I'm impressed with how well Virtue Gaming Grit played. It's unlucky for Team Shadow Spectres. It looked good on paper. It sort of looked like VGG had the plan and misplayed the draft slightly, but obviously that Caitlyn is so strong, really matches the series energy very, very well. And overall, I think everyone on VGG understood what their job was. Mad Plague really showing up for his first game in this series and proving that he was a worthy replacement for just joshing the Zillion, getting good results. I love to see this champion picked. Not everyone agrees with me on that one, but I like to see Zillion picked, and I really liked seeing how Mad Plague played that. Couple of misplays from either side there, but honestly, overall well played. It looked really, really good for Team Shadow Spectres at one point. I really, really like these plays from 360, especially when a lot of people were focusing on other side lanes. 360 going completely unmatched. Really well played by Gabo, trying to get these advantages later on with the Rift Herald, being able to try and get these split pushes, securing 360, collapsing in on these people, forcing other people to catch these waves. But at the end of the day, it's not enough when you're that far behind and you don't capitalize on these leads that you're getting in this situation. And I feel like there could have been a bit more proactive gameplay from the side of Team Shadow Spectres in this early game. I do think they could have made something happen. Obviously, it's not easy. It's harder for them, but in terms of the drafting, but I do think there was some macro misplay there from TSS.
Yep, so both teams are going to get ready to hop into game 2. We are going to take a quick break while we wait for them to get ready. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere. We will be back with game 2 of the night, VG Grit versus Team Shadow Spectres. All right, welcome back in, everyone, to Game 2 of the night, TSS versus VG Grit. I'm number 2 Ginger, back with the Mac in it to Game 2 of the night. TSS taking the blue side, VG Grit on the red side.
Unsurprising to see a Caitlyn ban coming through for VGG. Obviously, TSS has his first pick. Wants to. Oh, never mind. I take it back. Banned out the vein. This is what happens when you call things out, by the way, when you're a caster and someone hovers something. Don't call stuff out when they're hovering stuff. You look like an idiot when this stuff happens, right? So, anyways, going for pretty much the same bans as we saw in game 1. Nothing too shocking here. Looking to ban out some of these comfort picks. Obviously, Invein's vein taken away. Not too shocked. The jungler from Team Shadow Spectres having their Kindred taken away. The support having their Vigar taken away, etc., etc. Basically, everything we saw. Nothing too schmixed on this part. The main thing we want to be looking for is Champ Prio, because the sides have swapped. Team Shadow Spectres now on that blue side, locking in that Ahri, taking that away from VGG. Maybe VGG locked in the Ahri to deny Team Shadow Spectres that in the first place. The Lissandra was trying to answer that, maybe understanding, okay, I can outplay this Ahri. I know that this pick works against us. That's why I'm locking this in. We didn't see that result happening from TSS here, but this might be a chance for Alpha Day to show off their mechanical skills on this character, on this pick. The Caitlyn locked in for Virtue Gaming Grit once again. Not too shocked that was left open. Maybe Team Shadow Spectres could be cooking up a kind of answer for that. Maybe not drafting the Zeri again. I've seen a lot of Zeri drafted recently in these matches, but I've not actually seen Zeri get any results. Maybe ADCs are not used to this play style yet. Maybe it's kind of hard to draft against these really, really strong picks in esports that have got these solid defined play styles when Zeri does struggle in addition to being this different kind of style mechanically. The Gwen pick coming through from Virtue Gaming Grit. We did mention last game, Ginger, that we wanted to see this kind of like more proactive top laner being able to be this ult carry. Maybe VGG understanding that Caitlyn is going to get bombarded in this early game after Team Shadow Spectres let that Caitlyn get through and become the monster that she was. So having Gwen there as that ult carry with that split push pressure at the same time, really, really nice. Nautilus coming through to try and catch out this Caitlyn. I like that. Now that is proactive answer to this Caitlyn, to this kind of oppressive lane phase. Would be shocked to see a Zeri picked here, though. Going to see a poke lane come out maybe from this Ezreal. I kind of like that answer, matching that Caitlyn's energy here. Any comments here, Ginger?
Yeah, I think TSS is definitely changing up their game plan a lot. They realized that wasn't working too well for them. I think the Scion was great, but everything else, they maybe want to be a bit more proactive with their picks. All their picks, I don't think were necessarily bad. They were just reactive and relying on VGG not to be able to play proactive and snowball the early game. But Virtue Gaming has proven they are one of the better teams in this group so far. So Team Shadow Spectres is giving them the respect needed, picking the Nautilus Ezreal. A pretty standard safe lane into that Caitlyn if Caitlyn ever gets hit up by a hook. Ezreal has a lot of good follow-up damage, and if Nautilus wants to move around the map, Ezreal also has a good time staying by himself. So VG going to take the Lux as a response. Kate Lux, kind of a disgusting lane. Nothing you ever really want to see as an ADC player. So I'm looking for VG again to just play through this bot lane and really, really snowball it. And probably give their counter pick to the top lane and keep that Gwen flex alive.
Yeah, I definitely like this Ezreal pick here. Maybe expecting something more pokey like that Lux to come through rather than the kind of like not defensive but more enabling plays that the Zillion has. Obviously Lux Caitlyn, if you get trapped, you're pretty much dead, right? That's kind of the point of this. It's like a Morgana, but obviously Lux has been finding a lot of success recently, so that Lux pick is a bit more in demand than Morgana. The binding is a bit more reliable, faster, obviously able to hit through these minions, so still applying this pressure. The burst damage coming down, so you've now got even more sources of damage. Virtue Gaming Grit could run into the issue of having too much damage, not enough support, because last game they kind of had that perfect balance struck up, but having both the Gwen and the Lux here, I think we're going to have to see a supportive mid laner and jungle in order to have this team have success. More damage coming through from this mid lane could put VGG in a kind of bad spot. Too many carries means that you have to hit snowball everything. It's a very, very feast or famine playstyle to be going like a full carry team. So we need to see how this plays out. Bans coming through on pretty standard early game junglers. I expect to see Jarvan and Lee Sin or Olaf pop up here. Wouldn't be too shocked, really. The Graves coming through, actually, maybe is a late game kind of answer. That safe top lane pick as well, pretty much, again, wins top lane into most matchups. Not quite sure how it does into Gwen. I'll have to double check on that. But Graves generally a pretty good, safe top lane pick that I assume that TSS would want to pick up. So smart ban coming through from BGG. It's what we'd like to see. Maybe another jungle ban coming out from the side of TSS. Never mind, this makes sense. Gwen is a jungle flex pick, so it's not too shocking to see the Shen ban come out. I'm sure you saw my face there briefly. I was a little bit confused about the Shen ban, but just had to clock with me that Gwen could be played in this jungle position. A little nice flex in these esports play that we like to see. Poppy, interesting answer. I assume into the Ahri, pretty safe tank pick. Assumed we're going to see it top lane. Poppy jungle not quite as popular as before. Gwen jungle being that flex pick, I expect to see played more in the jungle.
So the genius of the pick here is that both Poppy and Gwen are actually flex picks. They can both interchange with each other. And that's the point. Yeah. That's the whole point of the pick, because now normally what you would have to do here is you would have to blind the mid laner to keep the Gwen flex alive. But taking the Poppy allows you to actually counterpick to your mid lane while kind of giving counterpick to your top lane and jungle as well. Because now TSS have to think of a champion that doesn't get absolutely obliterated by either Gwen or Poppy in both jungle and top, which is not very easy to figure out in 30 seconds.
That's actually a really good point. I really like that now you've pointed that out. I was thinking about the Poppy flex pick, didn't think the Poppy jungle was as favorable, but you're right, absolutely. Really good point there, Ginger. Now we know this, kind of makes it way harder for Team Shadow Spectres to figure out this draft. We need to see this top lane answer now. I want to see what this is.
TSS,
but I think it's really hard.
They kind of screwed up by picking Kayn. Kayn gets obliterated by Poppy.
I'm not sure about that yet. I was gonna say Kayn diffed. It's just diffed, and it's not awful into Gwen, but it's not good either, right? So Kayn.
No, they screwed up. Poppy destroys Kayn in the jungle, and Gwen destroys Mundo in the top lane. It's actually this game should be won right now. Last game I wasn't convinced TSS would win it. I was on their side. This game, I'm convinced Grit can't lose. Now I'm gonna be the caster curse, and it's gonna be a banger somehow. But this is like an insanely good draft.
As much as I don't want to say it, and I don't want to agree with you, because obviously I want to see what TSS pulls out. I've seen crazier drafts work. You're right. You're absolutely right. This is just bad drafting. The Mundo... I didn't get to comment on the Mundo pick. You basically said it for me. Why on earth would you pick Mundo here, to be honest? Why would they pick Mundo? Let's go through this logic. Jinder, what do you think?
Is there supposed to be logic behind it? Mundo just got nerfed, so he's weaker now too. Gwen, absolutely loves tanks.
Tank shredding mage top laner. Yeah. Basically. It
has to be that their top just doesn't have a pick into Gwen, or maybe he just...
Why would you not have a pick into Gwen?
Well, Gwen's pretty OP. There aren't many good picks into Gwen, man.
But it should have an answer. If that's in your top lane pool, you're going into this, surely has some form of answer. Mundo, definitely not one of them. At least something that goes even here, but Mundo really not the play. I'm not a fan. Really not a fan.
I would have liked maybe a Kennen. I think that does pretty well into Gwen generally.
I agree.
And it gives you a really good engagement to that Kate Lux backline.
Yeah, absolutely. Something like the Kennen here. I don't think the Jax is what you need, especially into this Poppy, this Malzahar, this Lux. Obviously, the Malzahar was locked in after the Mundo pick, so the Jax wouldn't have been going into that, but gives you more options against that Gwen in that laning phase and allows you to kind of match that split as well, because I think that's what we're going to see coming through from Gwen, being able to apply that split lane pressure as well as this early winning lane pressure versus this tanky matchup. Mundo, out of all the tanks you could have chosen, out of all of them, I'm not a fan. Really not a fan of this. I like the Malzahar pick into Ahri. Obviously, really good lockdown. Even more reliable lockdown than that Lissandra was. Probably should have been played by Team Shadow Spectres in retrospect, looking at their pick there. I'm not sure about the Kayn either. I just don't like Kayn in esports. I think Kayn's just generally not a great pick in esports, especially when it is being picked into Poppy.
Yeah, I mean, Malzahar, even like you were saying that Kate, Gwen, and Lux lack a lot of frontline, a lot of CC. Poppy and Malzahar both kind of add to what you need there. Like, Malzahar is really a good way to let Kate Lux just poke, and if TSS ever tries to move forward, you just get kind of cucked by Poppy and Malz.
Yeah.
I was really concerned as well when you said that. I was like, what do you answer here? Do you just take two tanks into solo lanes? Like, you can get away with a tank mid, but Malzahar didn't come into my mind, and I'm very, very happy that Virtue Gaming found that angle and was able to figure that out.
Yeah, absolutely. I was looking a little bit worried here for VGG. I thought Virtue Gaming was going to kind of misplay with this draft. Bit too aggro, bit too aggressive, bit too cocky coming through. But I think they can go into this game feeling a bit overzealous because, let's be real here, this is a draft difference. If I've ever seen one, I think this is going to be incredibly, incredibly hard for Team Shadow Spectres. They are going to need to have their macro on point. They're going to need to have their overall mechanics on point. This is going to be an incredibly hard game for them. They have made this game about 5 times harder than they need to be. It's doable. I don't think these players are incapable of doing so. They've proved that they have some mechanics there. Obviously, wasn't able to show them off. Was shut down very early by VGG's really well played overall early game strength. We saw that Izzo was able to kind of capitalize on that. I really want to see how Izzo plays out this Poppy, see if he really punishes that Kayn. I really want to see how this plays out, but it's going to be really, really hard for TSS.
Just to confirm, it is the Gwen top lane in the Poppy jungle.
Yeah,
there's a chance. There's a chance, that maybe like let's say Terra just can't play can't play Gwen and has to take the Poppy. I don't think there's any reason they'd pick Poppy if they can't do that, but just for all the fans back home to make sure. But regardless, we have the Spectre kicking in. We are going to take a short break for ourselves and get ready for game 2 of the night. Don't go anywhere, guys. Game 2 looking to be a banger, hoping for a VG win, a little bit of caster bias. But Team Shadow Spectres definitely not out of it. We saw last game that we thought Team Shadow Spectres had the better draft, and VG won. Maybe we'll see the opposite this game. We'll just have to see. But we will be right back into game 2. Don't go anywhere. Alrighty, welcome back everyone into game 2 of the night. We got the Banger City coming out. Team Shadow Spectres versus VG Grit. VG Grit up 1-0 as you could see on the screen, loading up onto the Rift, looking to get that quick 2-0 on this late Saturday night. Mac, what are we looking for TSS to do differently this game?
Now that is a good question, isn't it, Ginger?
You're the caller, you tell me.
Okay, right. I'm going to delve into my deep knowledge here. I'm going to try and find an answer. So basically, they're going to pray that Isonator's hands drop off, right? And then Tierra needs to disconnect from the game. And 20 bucks names the keyboard has to disconnect. There you go. That's your answer. Because this is going to be incredibly hard. I think if they manage to survive to late, somehow, on some miracle, TSS should win this. Theoretically, right? If they manage to make it to that point. But I don't think they even get past that. I don't think they get past this mid game.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. I do think I give the scaling advantage slightly to TSS. The Kayn will be a problem, even though Poppy can lock him down really well. If he's going red Kayn, so he's going to be pretty tanky. Ezreal's going to be tanky. Ari's going to be annoying to lock down. And Mundo will be pretty hard to kill. Yeah. So I'll give you that one. I think TSS, you know, if they can get to the late game somehow, some way, their only real problem they have to deal with is Gwen. But besides that, I mean, it's just... I mean, maybe Falson can be abused too, you know. Ari has a lot of outplay potential in this lane. Falson is just kind of there to push and can get abused. But like every other lane just like so fucking doomed.
Yeah, you're not wrong, boss. Okay, maybe it's time for Alpha Day to step up. Not on a carry last game. Not on like a really strong carry last game. Not on a like really mechanical champion. Lissandra mains, but your champion ain't that deep, right? Ari, it's time. I've seen it. I want to see these outplays. I want to see some crazy stuff happen in pre-level 6. I'm not... I'm not sure. I'm really not sure, Ginger. But general start here, maybe... Look...
Terra?
Okay, well... That's your Gwen early cheese, though, right? That's pretty standard for what you'd expect from Gwen. Okay, I mean...
Oh, nice movement there to dodge that cleaver. It was a well-played Terra, and that's how this matchup's going to go the rest of the game.
Yeah, basically. As you were saying, I think overall TSS wins this late game. It depends on how immune Gwen decides to be with her W Shroud. That really determines how these late game team fights go. I think Ezreal has overall higher damage output across a board than Caitlyn. Obviously, Caitlyn high single target damage output, but Ezreal will be putting more DPS out. We'll need to see if in-Vayne's mechanics come down and are crazy. Obviously, guys, a Vayne like main, so maybe looking for a bush cheese here early on the...
Bonesaw getting locked up so much chain CC as now Isonator's looking for the counter. He gets a nice stun actually on Alpha Day. It's going to force the flash out. That's a lot of damage coming through. Folson's not going to flash forward to try to finish. That's Alpha Day forced out. A nice play across the board from VG.
So Bonesaw was not ready. I would try and do a funny...
Hey, that's Boner Saw.
Listen, I tried, okay. Bonesaw was not ready.
There you go. That's the emphasis.
Yeah, this is the kind of cheese I expect to see coming through from this ball lane. It's Morgana and Caitlyn, but with higher damage output. Maybe a little bit less frontline, which I would have maybe expected to see from the Morgana pick. As we said, a lot of damage here, but the Poppy and the Malzahar mitigate this. If they hadn't picked this, I would expect to see that. Morgana does give you that frontline kind of pressure. With that ultimate,
Bonesaw, wow, that's scary. Bonesaw has to look for that hook every day there.
I don't think they kill even with that hook. Flash still up, exhaust still down, heal still up. They're in this overall advantage state in this bot lane. I don't think... Ezreal does
here comes Gabo up in the top line. Terra. Remember, Terra has no flash here, so he's going to go for the play. Actually, he has 360. He has to flash away. Terra's going to get the first blood on the turn. God. The snip is too strong. Now Gabo's looking for the trade kill. I think he's going to get it. Gwen is OP, but not that OP. Gabo's actually going to flash. I don't think he needed to there, but he's going to take down Terra in the trade. But huge play from Terra as this whole wave is going to be collected from him as well once he TP's back.
So I think what Gabo tried to do was flash over the Gwen Q, but what he did is he flashed over the Gwen Q after Gwen's Q had already fully gone through. An attempt was made. I'll give him that. It's trying to be really cool with the outplays. 360 stepping forward there was really dumb. No disrespect to the guy, but he should have understood that that snip was fully charged. That will shred through him. Doesn't matter how much health you have. Your passive isn't saving you here. Gwen literally has no CC. Your passive is essentially useless in this lane. Let's talk about that real quick. You have chosen a champion whose passive is completely negated by the champion you just picked it into, which is a big part of his playstyle. Goes where he pleases, is very, very strong into the right lane, but Mundo literally has no use of it out in his lane.
Yeah.
I don't. That's.
I mean, one upside for TSS here is you are getting your Kayn accelerated a bit, which is nice to see. You know, Kayn, you know, when he's on your team, it's kind of a big win con. Getting that form earlier. He has a nice camp lead on it to the Isonator, also a level lead. So that is going to be something for Virtual Gaming to keep their eye on, because if they do take maybe a greedy fight and give 1 or 2 more kills over to Gabo, you know, as much as you say Kayn isn't an esports champion, we do have to remember this is a bit of a lower tier league, and that champion can be a bit impossible to deal with without really nice team coordination.
Absolutely. I want to see Gabo step up here. So obviously I did emphasis last game that Gabo, I feel like, could have made a little bit more plays in this early game surrounding counter jungling this Zac. So maybe we can see a little bit more carry potential coming out from Gabo, proving that he is going to be the difference here for the side of Team Shadow Spectres.
Yeah, Terra just kind of showing that he dominates this lane. He has that full blasting one picked up. So he is putting out the damage. And remember, Gwen is a scaling champion. So this kind of damage this early is a bit ridiculous. But across the board, farm is looking pretty even in the mid lane. A little bit of advantage for 20 bucks name in the bot lane. Dragon is spawned, is the Cloud Drag first. And it looks like neither team is really rushing as both junglers are on the top side of the map. So bit of a boring early game so far. Looking to see if maybe TSS decides to take up the initiative.
So if both bot and mid had prio there, that's a really, really easy choice, Drake for the side of VG Grit here. Virtue Gaming would have picked that up for free, I'm pretty sure, because their bot had just reset, obviously. Nautilus moving through River, maybe.
Here comes the all-in from Terra here. He has so much damage coming out. TSS pops the ulti. I don't know if it's going to be enough HP regen. Terra looking for the finish as Isonator actually got invaded in his top side there. Bonersaw moving up with TSS Gabo to force Isonator out of his buff. He didn't have to burn Flash, though, so is in a decent position. Now, it looks like TSS is going to be collapsing in the top side onto Terra here if the camera wants to pan there. I don't want to have to do it myself, but I guess I will. Terra is now going to have to play in the Alcove Gamer. Remember, he has no Flash, has the Ignite available. There comes the hook, but it's going to be nicely immune by Terra, but the auto attack, unfortunately, is still a good amount of CC. Terra trying to walk this one out, and that's going to be, like I said, a shutdown going over to Gabo. That's not where you want the gold going in, but a nice play from TSS's support to roam with the jungler, leave Ezreal alone, and get some gold for his jungler.
And that's the really good thing about this Ezreal pick here from Invane. I think Bonasaur really, really wanted to have a little bit more autonomy over his playstyle in this game. Was stuck on the enchantment last game, couldn't really be that playmaker that he needed to be in order to make these plays happen around the map. Nautilus obviously giving you a lot of this roaming pressure, a lot of this pick pressure as well, and allowing you to enable your hyper carry to start scaling really, really early. Really well played, and honestly really good on VG here, knowing that they have the advantage, being able to pick up this dragon. Nice try with the invade earlier onto the Poppy, forcing Izza out of his jungle. And Kayn counter jungling here, really, really good. If you have this lead already, being able to pick up that Rift Herald and looking for some early gold, I like it. I really like how they're playing around this Kayn. And we just basically, all we need to see here is how Mundo minimizes this lane differential. Because whilst Mundo is not that far behind in farm, it could start adding up really badly if Gwen is able to keep trading and getting these repeat kills over and over again.
Yeah, Gabo playing a lot better this game than last game, in my opinion. He's playing pretty well. Invade down here now, getting frozen on by the bot lane of VG. Very well played with the wave management. And Bonersaw is going to have to move bot lane if he wants to get his ADC out of a really bad situation, but he's still looking for the play in the mid lane. Falson's going to wisely back up here and not get hooked. But, I mean, you're just putting Invane at such a big disadvantage right now. He's down nearly 20 CS on this perma-frozen wave. And this Caitlyn's going to be absolutely massive if there's no answer. Invane's literally dying to Krugs, trying to get any CS while his support leaves him for dead.
Well, I suppose you have to try and shift as much power as you can elsewhere. Maybe the sacrifice on Invane here is necessary, but let's hope it's not in vain. Haha. Let's hope that they really manage to be able to play off of this. Obviously got that Rift Hold. Maybe Kane looking to path down into the bot side. Going to be matched by the Poppy.
Another all-in from Terry. He's popping the ultimate, looking for the kill. Still has the Ignite available. Might look for the snip into the Ignite. Is not going to hit the last snip. TSS 360 also still had flash. So he wasn't too scared of death there. But Terra filling himself a little bit. Still that scaling Gwen. It's still a little bit too early to go that hard and get the kill from 100% HP. But it was nice and ambitious.
The Force of Nature here coming through on the Mundo. Oh, maybe a play looking mid here.
Oh, nice flash there from the Isonator to make sure Alpha Day gets in range from Falson, and the wombo combo of damage comes out. Mad Play gonna finish that one out with his own ultimate. Feels like that was, maybe Falson could have just flashed first and immediately locked down of Alpha Day, but a nice play regardless, as now it looks like 20 bucks name is going right into Nautilus's hook. Ultimate coming down from Invain is not going to land. 20 bucks name is going to live, but his sums are gone. Gabo is here as well, going to look for the dive. Remember, no sums on 20 bucks name, so Gabo might be able to get close. Flashes forward, gets the blue smite into the kill. Well played, a 3-0 Kane.
That is really, really nice. Now, I just want to point out mid lane. Okay, you're absolutely right. I think Folsom could have just flash ulted, but obviously Izzo wanted to do some crazy looking plays. Now, I actually thought Ari was going to be able to Spirit Rush out of the range of Folsom's ult there, and I think Ari did, but Folsom was able to buffer the ult out while she was mid-dash. I do not think that the suppression from Malzahar's ult cancels dashes, but it was very, very close, and Alpha Day had the flash, could have made it out alive, chose not to burn it, even though that Malzahar flash ult pressure was there. Maybe a little bit cocky and overconfident there, but really, really, really well played there by Shadow Spectres being able to get that counter lead bot lane, funneling all this gold down. Are we going to see Kane's form coming out soon, maybe? I think he might be ready. No, not quite. Yeah, that should be coming through very, very soon. Oh no, the form was ready. For some reason, he was doing it outside of his fountain, which I've literally never seen happen before. So that is the red Kane form coming down. Massive power spike.
Falson, no flash. That pick up a little bit far, and Alpha Day is actually going to dodge the charm. Nice movement there from Falson. That was a guaranteed death if he ate that, but having the confidence to dodge a skill shot. Mad Plague now here hovering, maybe looking for the light binding. Isn't going to throw it out. And a bit of a scary situation there. But Gabo is now here looking for some damage on Isonator. Mad Play is going to throw light binding. Is not going to land. Isonator now going aggressive. But Boner Saw is in the top side. Boner Saw looking for the hook. Izzo's going to run it out. And there's the charm missing again. But the CC is coming down. Looks like False is going to trade that over. But the heal's coming out. I believe that was the Triumph going to actually save him. And now double kill after Alpha Day getting the resets on this new and improved Ari. It's going to be a finish off from In Vain. And TSS taking the proactive initiation here. Boner Saw with the huge flank is going to lead to a big play for TSS.
Damn, okay, so we talked about this Poppy absolutely demolishing this Kane early, but you know what Poppy didn't do? Try and demolish Kane early. You've given Kane his power spike now. Okay, Poppy does still counter Kane in the sense that, oh sorry, Rast, for those of you who'll get really annoyed that I'm calling him Kane. Poppy does counter Kane in the sense that, obviously, your W shuts down most of his mobility and his kind of overall gameplay style. You want to go in and try and dive into your entire team with Q, get that ult reset, being able to do that over and over again.
Oh, Terra? Terra immediately popping the ult there. They're going to force the flash out of 360. It was a very early flash, but I guess he did not want to mess with that Gwen. Dragon now spawning, and it looks like TSS is going to take control of the pit.
Kind of like that early flash, though. A lot of respect there going down from the side of 360, understanding, okay, I gotta stop going this far forward. I'm gonna in if I keep doing this. So, really, really smart, trying to cut down as many leads as possible for the side of BG.
Gabo looking for the pick on the Mad Plague and 20 bucks name, but he's still Red King. He gets exhausted, so no much damage coming through. Gonna be put down to about a third HP. But Kane can heal very quickly. He has the Raptors alive. Looks like he's gonna go to those to get all his HP back because Jungle is weak XD. Now VG taking control of the pit, and nothing more to be done yet.
Now, Poppy ult goes wide there. Could have been pretty big and allowed you to get that Dragon start a bit more safely. I feel like Gabo keeps playing really far forward and playing a bit more cocky, but barely getting out. Obviously because these Canids can just heal back up free. Big, maybe starting this team fight
Yeah,
now.
Dragon Maid started. Here comes the fight. Gabe's gonna get the knock up on Isnator. Is able to run away from the Charm. Spirit Rush came through, but Terra is TPing right in the middle of all the members of TSS. Now Gabe's gonna look on the Light Binding, lands on Gable. Gonna lose so much HP, but he just ults right into Terra. Dragon's gonna go over to VG here as so much damage coming out from Alpha Day. TSS 360s in the backline, and no one can stop him right now. He is untouched onto 20 bucks name and Mad Plague in the CC. That's the power of the Mundo passive. That Caitlyn Lux cannot stop him if they do not have the DPS, and there is no full item out from 20 bucks a name yet. So TSS is going to keep throwing those cleavers. Going to be a full ace out from Team Shadow Spectres, traded only for Gable's life.
Now this proves that the draft does not mean everything. This is basically... Maybe we should just shut up. I think we're casting.
No, I like it. This is good. This means it's a banger.
Okay, true. We like a banger game coming out here, so I'm kind of liking this. Not necessarily what I expected going in. Not by the books. Obviously, VG Grit still getting that objective pressure, getting the dragons, like we saw before. But are they going to be able to turn it into a lead into this late? Obviously, we've got the Ocean Soul coming out, which is arguably better for the side of Team Shadow Spectres with these really long trades that they'll be taking on the side of Mundo and Kane. You are only enabling them to be even more ridiculous with their strengths here with that Ocean Soul. So kind of unlucky for the side of VG Grit, maybe looking for something a bit more burst starred like Hex Drake or the Infernal Drake. But honestly, yeah, really well played by the Mundo, by the way. He proved that he was being a force of nature there in that team.
Here comes Gabo on Terra in the top lane. Terra is going to pop his ulti now, looking for the damage. Going to do so much damage onto Gabo. He's going to look for the finish. Went forward, actually does not have Ignite available. There comes the snip onto Gabo, and now Isonator is here, going to look for the play. Gabo cannot dash while inside, but Mad Plague is now getting solo killed by Nautilus. Fight's breaking out back top lane. Camera does not know where to go. Bonus shot's going to take down Mad Plague, and now Terra's looking for the finish on 360, but he went too far forward. The instant healing from 360 is going to make him survive, and Isonator goes down. Two people dead. Now Flash over from Indian looking for 20 bucks name. Does he have the damage for him off? He has the heal for movement speed if he wants it. He's looking for the Arcane Shift. It should be off cooldown very, very soon. 20 bucks name is still running for his life, and there's the Arcane Shift. The Flash comes out into the True Shot Barrage, but it's not going to land, so Flash is traded. Now Rift Herald started up for TSS off the back of a great play.
Now, Lux is not at the point in the game where she can be taking these really, really early trades. Nautilus has obviously itemized full MR here, so kind of getting absolutely demolished by these base values from Nautilus. You know how these tanky supports tend to be. You played against Aleana and solo queue before, I'm sure. But wow, I'm actually really impressed with how much 360's been stepping up here, being able to understand and take these trades a bit more smart. I'd argue Gabo playing, or Gabo, sorry, I keep saying it wrong, playing on the edge of what his limits are, resetting with his ult there right before he comes close to death. 360 understanding his limits too, a bit more, getting a little bit more strength in his pocket, able to take these fights a bit more confidently. I like that. Understanding that he needs to play around his team though, and whilst it looked really bad at the start there, really, really well played from the side of Team Shadow Spectres, and that is looking to be a 6k gold lead now.
Yeah, pretty devastating for the side of Virtue Gaming Grit, because as we said, we don't give the scaling advantage over to them, and when you're already this far behind this early, it's really rough. And you know, you have to wonder how they got to this position. You felt like 20 bucks name had that massive freeze for so long. Terra was solo killing his lane, and Falston was holding his own quite fine. It just feels like, again, as we saw in game one, the macro was just too much for VG to deal with. And when TSX actually gets the lead, their macro game is so strong compared to Virtue Gaming Grits. It's really just too oppressive, especially with this Kane being able to have wall hacks, as Falston is forced to flash from TSS Gabo, sorry, he's not on TSM yet. Gonna get the lockdown on the Falston. Nice hook out from Boner Saw. Gonna give the kill over to Alpha Day, and it feels like the bleeding just can't stop.
So they popping the Spirit Bush a little unnecessarily there. Obviously managed to get the reset after popping it, etc, etc. But honestly not really needed. That is an ult on cooldown now that could be used to catch something out earlier. But as you were saying, yeah, it is absolutely down to this macro play. TSS is showing that they are kind of outclassing VG Grit in this aspect. This is what I wanted to see last game, but unfortunately by the time that they started being able to make these big plays, it was already too late. And when your advantages and your only advantage state is going into your Scion top lane and the rest of your carries can't really be taking these duels against against anyone else, it becomes really, really hard for you to play the game. So now Team Shadow Spectres has this advantage state. They basically own the map now. It is so hard for VG Grit to keep up. These guys know exactly what they're doing, and I love to see it, Ginger.
Yeah, it's pretty nice to see from TSS taking the situation. You know, I was convinced is not a very good situation. I think the early game really was just looking so VG Grit favored. But some misplays, like 20 Bucks name stepping up to a Nautilus hook when he had the freeze and burning all his summons into a dive. Isonator being pushed out of his jungle. Terra taking very aggressive trades and consistently giving gold over to Gabo as Falson. You're in a 1v4, my friend. That Gromp is not yours. This jungle is owned by TSS along with the rest of the Rift.
Kill goes down to Bonasaur. And Ezreal ult was coming in. They could have left it for him. That's a little bit mean. Come on, give my man some kills. He's already got.
All right, 360 going a bit aggressive here in a 1v3 situation, but he nearly kills Terra and is right back to effectively full HP. That last cleaver nearly took out Terra as well. This Mundo, 2 items with full boots. Now going aggressive on Mad Plague. Mad Plague here is stepped alone. He's got the flash in the last cleaver. He decides not to use it and gives a kill over to 360. The Mundo pick was doubted, and he goes where he pleases at this point.
Really, really, really smart itemization here from the Mundo. That fully stacked Force of Nature makes him an absolute monster. He will chase you down, he will kill you, and there in hell you can do about it. Ooh, are they not going to check this bush?
Oh my god, Terra!
Oh my god!
He's so good, he's so good.
Holy, this guy knows he's smart. That was really clean by Terra. I love to see that. A little bit saucy, but unfortunately getting away from them here is not going to save you the game state, my friend. But I really like the itemization coming here from 360. I was a little bit apprehensive at first in regards to it being picked into Gwen. Obviously, a lot of Gwen's damage does come down to true damage. That's basically true damage's counter is health to an extent. When it's not % health based, because obviously it goes through all resistances, but she is at the end of the day still an AP carry, and into these picks like Malzahar and Lux, who are very CC heavy as well, being able to minimize the amount of CC you're getting whilst increasing the decreasing the overall damage you're doing and increasing your chase potential, because Mundo really does love going where he pleases, makes you an absolute monster on the Rift. It looked really close there for a second, but he absolutely 360 that fight around, if I do say so myself. I honestly quite impressed with how he stepped up from this early game. Yeah, and sorry, go.
It's looking more and more like you're gonna head over to a game 3 here, and I'm curious now. VG on the back foot, momentum taken from there. Assuming we go to a game 3, I'm curious what maybe they look to change up in draft, or if they felt this was absolutely fine and it was just their misplay and they try to run it back.
Okay, could maybe fight coming out top lane here.
Yeah, Terra looking for the play. Isonator's not going to be able to get the CC down. Misses the ulti as 360 flashes away, and Gabo is here for the cleanup. Terra is still pretty strong here. Mad Plague is hovering on the side. Terra taking a lot of damage from Gabo. His auto attacks do so much. Dash is maybe not in the most advisable direction. Now, Invain is here. Isonator is on the wrong side of the rift. Going to have to go down to Invain, hitting those skill shots with no trouble whatsoever. A little bit of swag, walking back, guaranteed. No, that was going to hit. And VG, they're still trying to make the plays. They're still trying to find something, but 360 is just not the target. He is effectively unkillable.
I think this is also a much better recovery we see from Invain here compared to how he was on the Zeri. I don't think I really saw the guy feeling that comfortable on that Zeri pick. It didn't really feel like he could do anything proactively. Zeri obviously needs that time to scale, and VG Grit were very, very good at punishing that lane state. This is his element. I'm loving to see this Ezreal pick. This guy can optimize his damage well. Now, Ezreal, obviously a very safe lane pick, but to be a good Ezreal, you have to be able to optimize your damage output and your APM in these team fights. And Invain is showing that his mechanics are carrying over from his other champions, being highly mechanically intensive, being able to keep up with this, and proving that he is going to be this crazy carry. It's not all just down to this Kayn. Everyone on the side of Team Shadow Spectres has a massive lead here. They are stepping up, well, maybe not so much Alpha Day, but still being able to keep up, and with this overall lead, stepping up and showing that they basically are kind of unbeatable right now. And maybe an objective fight needs to be taken here from the side of VG Grit, maybe a force on Baron or Dragon when it next comes up. But until then, it's just going to be the farming game, I think, for BGG.
Yeah, it feels like it's kind of just waiting for TSS to kind of speed up the game and figure out a way to end. Granted, they don't have great angles to really figure out how to do that. It's really just constantly fighting. They don't have too much siege, but you know they have Baron at this point. It's kind of where you want to go. Terra looking for the fight on 360. He does do a lot of damage towards him, but 360 is just gonna pop that ultimate and probably not really care too much. Slowly gonna hit him with the cleavers. Terra still wants the fight. Mad Plague now here hovering him on the side, but 360 is a bit too strong. Gotta gives him the slap, gives him the 1-2, gives him, you know.
And that's Mad Plague gone as well too, right? Surely.
Yeah,
there we go.
Bit of a one-shot.
Force of Nature is a really strong item, by the way. In case you don't know this, guys, build Force of Nature in your games, please. That item is ridiculous. It has been overtuned to way much because no one builds it. Also, another team fight breaking out here.
Oh, Izzo gonna ult Gabo away, but not too far. Gabo's right back there. Izzo kind of knows that he is, you know, he's a bit squishy himself too. He went Sunder, so he is not looking too great, and it just kind of feels like Terra's doing the best he can, and you know he's 3-6, but I don't really fault this game much on him at all. So all of VG, you know, in general, just hopefully they can regroup and come back for this game 3 without their mentals too shattered. Clearly TSS did not feel too shattered about game 1, but that's actually a play coming out on Gabo. A nice lockdown from Falston and good follow-up from the team. Is going to be a quick kill over to the side of VG, but all their HP bars are so low.
Falston showing off his crazy mechanics, pressing that R button as hard as he could. They're locking down Gabo and able to get that shutdown. Now, I really like, and I'll go back to the items thing again, while we're having a slight lull, perhaps, as they're shoving into the... Never mind.
Doesn't look like straight into a team fight. Charm's going to come out on Izzo. He's just going to die going into a Mystic Shot. Terra now looking for the play. 360 in a 1v4 situation in the base. Can he actually survive this? Terra's going to miss his last charge of his ulti, but it doesn't matter. Shutdown's going over on Caitlyn. It's actually a massive shutdown, nearly 1,000 gold. And it looks like TSS still wants to stay here and possibly siege this tower. So much poke coming out from Invane right now, but they're going to back off of that wave, and Baron is going away in about 5 seconds. However, Dragon is spawning, and it should be TSS's to take.
Okay, so TSS, please give me like 2 seconds to talk about how good your itemization is here. So, we were talking about Ezreal being a slightly more defensive option pretty much throughout the whole game, but Ezreal has chosen to go with the damage-optimized route of Duskblade. Now, I personally prefer Prowlers here for going for raw damage, but being able to take this raw damage option here rather than your more safe either Crown, Sunderer, build, etc., etc., Invane knows that they are in a position in which they can be going this full damage thing, and it runs into this team on the side of VG Grit is running into this drafting issue that I said about running too much damage. It leaves you really open to...
Yeah, 20 bucks name, not going to have a good time here in a 1v3 situation. You are a bit strong. You did finish that Collector. Not sure if that was, you know, maybe as you were speaking itemization, I don't know if Collector is exactly...
I don't think Collector's the play here, not into this team.
You've got Mondo K Nautilus.
Yeah. So this is some Korean item drafting I'm seeing here in my games. Unfortunately, you are not far enough ahead to be buying silly items here. But yeah, basically Ezreal's able to melt through everything for free. Way too many damage carries, not enough pure damage mitigation here to counter this lethality. No true tanks or proper frontline. All coming down from Azhav here.
Yeah, Falson looking for the play. Is able to pick up onto Alpha Day. That is now Gabo in the front line. He's going to get shut down as well. A nice pickup from VG Grit, showing some signs of life, getting some gold onto the carries. And TSS is going to have to back off, not able to pick up the inhibitor and trade. Terra's still chasing you. Maybe looking for Invane is going to decide to back off and have 360s in that bot lane. So a little bit of gold picked up here and there. Still down 10,000 gold. But Baron spawning in a minute 30. TSS should probably just look for that and maybe end off that instead of splitting the map in half.
Now, TSS is showing some really, really bad signs here, and I don't want to cast the curse this, but they are playing way too cocky here, and I'm worried that if they keep playing cocky like this, okay, they've got a crazy lead, very good state for them. It's pretty hard overall for VG Grit to match them. They have to basically send like 3 people to kill 1 guy, but if you keep overextending like this, it's going to add up. You're going to give too many shutdowns. They're going to get too much of a gold lead. They pick one of you off. Those death timers are getting longer and longer, especially around these objective fights when you've got these timers coming up. If you're getting picked off at this stage in the game, that is going to be bad. And they are playing way too aggressive solo to be making these mistakes when you have these catchers like Poppy and Malzahar.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, you gotta be a little bit careful still. Poppy and Malz they do have good pick potential, and that's kind of the point of the picks. So TSS does overstep, you know, they have the natural composition kind of counters to them. We have 3 items already on Falson now, hitting level 16 at 28 minutes, so he's in a good spot, but 20 bucks name is a bit weak himself, unfortunately. Terra as well, looking pretty strong with 3 items, so it's not like every member of VG is super weak, but relative to TSS, they are not feeling themselves in a straight 5v5. But Baron is spawning, both teams are aware of it, and VG is slowly trying to make their way up. 360 in the bot lane, 2 levels up on Terra at this point. I feel like even though Gwen just should beat Mundo, it's just too much HP for Terra to get through.
Absolutely, this Mundo is incredibly strong, and whilst we were kind of trash talking it in this draft, it is proven that that scaling pick does make him kind of impossible to kill, and you have to kind of wonder what VG has to do here to make up the difference. We need to see these plays coming out. The Baron choosing to not be taken from the side of Team Shadow Spectres, respecting the fact that they are kind of not in a great position to be fighting. Well, obviously they are pretty far ahead, but not trying to push the limits too far, kind of playing a bit more safe, maybe restarting the Baron now as the fighting has died down and they are slightly more distracted with the Mundo having to send people back to deal with that crashing top wave as well. Still seeing some pressure applied by the Kayn here so that the constant Baron aggro is there. Although Ahri attacking the ward, giving vision of Baron being done. Not the smartest
gave a
there.
1 HP on Baron. He was soloing it for a while, but VG just has no
keeping
way
the
of
aggro,
stepping
I
up.
suppose, yeah.
It's just recalling it. They're just giving it. It's going to be Baron over to TSS.
I think they could have matched that. I really think VG Grit could have taken the advantage of the fact that Gabriel was soloing it. Obviously, they didn't know until everyone was in position to help, and everyone was stepped forward into the red side jungle of VG Grit, so it was just hard for them to step forward at all and try and punish that. So, on reflection, maybe they probably couldn't have done anything there, but really good play overall by Team Shadow Spectres, sending that monster down into the bot lane, sieging that last remaining, forcing them to, control that last remaining tower left in the bot. Then currently you have to worry about the inhibitors. That Baron's coming down and you've got crashing waves everywhere, having to push back these waves before they know they have to inevitably deal with that Baron. And I feel like this Baron pressure is going to give them just complete dragon control. I don't really envision VG Grit forcing this dragon fight. Okay, sure, this dragon puts Team Shadow Spectres on soul point, and the Ocean Drakes are incredibly good for the likes of 360 and Gabo here. But I don't envision VG Grit trying to force a fight too much, and maybe I could be mistaken, and they are all charging forward as 5 here rather than trying to match the side lane split pressure push from 360, forcing him to move up. Team fight could be starting up soon, but Ocean Drake is spawned, and I don't think that VG Grit has the vision lines or the knowledge of where Team Shadow Spectres
VG's pulling the trigger now with 360 in the bot lane. They're immediately going to take out Alpha Day, but so much damage is actually done to 2 VG in the same time. While this is happening, 360 is taking the entire base of VG, and VG is still stuck in the mid lane. Terra's resetting now, but this inhibitor is already gone. It looks like VG is going to push down the mid lane and get a tower as an objective bounty. They have no more minion wave, and now they're getting flanked by the side of TSS. It's a 3v4 if TSS wants to take this. Kayn is so strong here. Bonus already looking for the hook. Isonir's gonna pin Gable on the wall. Gable flashes in right into a trap. So much damage coming out, but Isonir's going solo. Gable's getting exhausted, dies in the side of the body of Mad Plague. Now VG is turning around. Bonus is gonna go solo. The aids might be able to take him down, but oh no! 20 bucks name goes down to Invain while channeling the ultimate. Not good. Invain now popping off here, getting so much damage. Flashes for it, takes on Isonir. It's a triple kill. Looking for the quadra kill on a Mad Plague. So cleanly played. Arcane Shifts past him, gets the quadra kill. 11-0-3 on this Ezreal. Absolutely popping off as 360's TPing in the top lane, where only Terra is left to defend the base.
And you see that RETP coming out, and they are looking to basically end the game here. Now, Invain really able to show off that mechanical skill. I wouldn't expect anything less from someone called Invain. As I said earlier, this guy is kind of going crazy. I love to see it in these team fights. I was initially looking very worried on the side of...
Oh, Terra actually popping there. Oh. Alpha Day, you have 8 seconds on the Isonator, 8 seconds on 20 bucks name. Can they get back in time? The Invain is here now. I don't think there's enough time left. This should be game 2 of the night. Going over to TSS. There is the power of Mundo stopping you from knocking him away. That's what the pick is for.
Love to see it. Really, really well played from Team Shadow Spectres, stepping up here, not taking that kind of crushing defeat that they had in that first game, and really showing off that, yeah, we're good enough. We understand what we're doing. We prove that we know our macro, and we're going to try and optimize this. You might think our draft is a little bit silly, guys, but we'll show you, and they did show us. We were able to see the true strength of their team coordination and overall play this game, and I'm really, really excited to see which team steps up in this upcoming Game 3.
Yeah, it's going to be super interesting to see both teams down a game, both teams win a game, you can say in the same sense. And I'm saying right now, I'm not choosing which team won draft. I'm done. That's it. I'm giving both teams a
We need
fair
to stop.
chance.
We need to
I'm
stop.
giving both
We
teams
need
a
to
fair
stop.
chance. That's it.
Yeah. Okay, so we just sit there and look pretty for the next cast for the next draft, right? Because I'm not saying a single word. I feel like if I misspeak once, if I say, "Oh, that champion's not a great pick into this," look at that Mundo. You saw how crazy that Kane went. I'm never speaking ever again. My job as a color caster analyst, get me kicked off. What am I doing? Why am I here? These guys are proving me wrong. These guys are basically smashing all my knowledge out the window, and I love to kind of see it. This really smart play overall. Really well done on the side of TSS. I want to see how VGG steps up here.
Yeah, we are definitely curious. I think both of us is really curious how this game's really going to go. I honestly have no clue. I feel like it can go either way. The momentum has shifted. It's really on VG to make sure they don't tilt and that they're able to bring into Game 3 with full prepared mentals. But we're going to take a quick break while we wait for Game 3 to get set up. Don't go anywhere for this banger of a matchup. We will be right back.
Can we bring to fall the giants? 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 We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of the world that we define. A solar ray of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last light.
And welcome back, everyone, back into Game 3 of the night. I am number 2 Ginger, once again joined by the Mac here for this fantastic series, as I clearly forgot to edit the scores for the teams because I am too hyped myself. I think, Mac, you're hype yourself. Please take over the commentary while I fix my lack of production.
Absolutely, I'm always happy to help here, Ginger. Basically, same bands coming out from VGT and TSS here. Except we see the Ari band. Let's go. Okay, so basically Ari's won every single game she's been picked out. I'm not saying it's Ari diff. Probably Ari diff actually. But the Ari kind of banned out means that you don't have this crazy strong pick. And the Jinx coming through from VGG. I love it. Jinx needed to be picked sooner. I feel like this could be a really swing advantage in the side of VGG. They didn't really have that crazy late game 1v5 hyper carry that you see in the element of Jinx. You see Jinx go explosive, her AoE damage going crazy, way too much damage output for anyone else to really keep up with. The Ezreal, maybe not the answer, maybe not like a great answer, but it's not a bad answer either. I think it kind of gives that more safe laning phase into this hyperscaling Jinx, especially if you try and pick something like an Enchanter, maybe looking for an engaged tank like Nautilus again to try and lock down that Jinx in the same way you were doing with that Caitlyn earlier. The J4 getting picked through from the side of jungle, maybe. I'd love to see it. We've obviously had all of these really strong early game junglers banned away, so this is going to be the first time that we see something really proactive and get some real movement coming through from these really strong early game skirmishes. But we're instead going to have the Nautilus locked in, pretty much what I expected, same as Team Shadow Spectres had last game, having to try and punish these ADC stepping forward, so obviously basically same game plan for Caitlyn as they did for Caitlyn
So
that they're going to do for Jinx.
the genius behind this Nautilus pick, again, this is a very good pick. So you lock in the Jarvan, right? And VG has to take the Thresh, right? You know VG is taking the Thresh. So you take the Nautilus immediately right away. So you have the counter pick into Thresh. So Nautilus is a hard counter into Thresh. And you know, and then you don't immediately have to expose the J4. So now you get an even better jungle pick because you want Jarvan into Jinx, right? You want to lock down that immobile ADC, but at the same time, that Thresh kind of negates that. So you take the Nautilus, you bait them into the Thresh anyway, and now you might even have a jungle counter pick. You're going to get the mid counter pick because VG is looking for a Victor, but...
I was going to say the Victor was left open, and the mid laner for VGG can play this, and this was the go-to ban for TSS last time. So we're going to have to see how this plays out. These could be the things that sway VGG. Now, I'm not going to talk about drafting because obviously draft win, draft loss isn't the craziest thing here. You're absolutely correct about that Thresh pick.
Early
Shen. Okay. Gwen ban coming through. Makes sense. Gwen obviously a really good answer into Shen. Really strong early game skirmisher. I'd be interested to see if they ban out Graves here. I think Graves doesn't do too badly into Shen, and obviously he's a very safe lane. Maybe could look to ban out another jungler here on the side of Team Shadow Spectres, trying to force the tempo in their favor here. I'm really interested to see how this plays out. Obviously, the mid lane still left open for TSS, so we'll have to see what options they go for. There are a myriad of things that can match this Victor. The Corki hasn't been banned away, and I think Corki's pretty okay into this. Scales very well, much like the Victor, able to try and match that wave clear that he has. Very strong roaming potential with the package, strong team fight presence as well, so maybe could be an option, especially if you're looking for something like the Shen. If you want to dive in, then you can Shen all the Corki. The Corki's already in the front line. Shen locks them all down. You've got this, maybe if you're not going for an engaged jungler. The J4 has been banned away. I assume Xin Zhao's going to be banned away from the side of VGG. There we go. I expect to see that locked in now. So it's pretty smart. This is all very smart. There's a lot of options open, a lot of avenues that Team Shadow Spectres could make, could take here in order to counter these picks from VGG. But there's a lot of elements here that we can expect to see from both teams, and I'm looking really forward to seeing what's going to go down.
Yeah, I think I would have liked the Jarvan pick a bit more than the Shen on that third pick, just because you have two immobile carries on the side of Virtua Gaming Grit, two very good carries for Cataclysm. So interesting prio there. Maybe they want to take it away from Terra, and they want a nice side lane pressure for their top laner. But Graves is the lock-in for TSS on that fourth pick, most likely going to be in that jungle position since Shen is already locked in, but we could see that flex mid. You never know. I feel like that would be a fine pick into Victor. You just get a faster shove until Victor gets his upgrade, and Victor is not going to have a good time. Virtua Gaming Grit going for the Gangplank locked in. Okay, so VG now has 3 pretty much giga hyper scaling lanes. Late game is going to be kind of absolutely disgusting, and I'm excited to see if Terra has some nice Gangplank mechanics, because Gangplank is one of those champions that you can look like an absolute noob on, or you can look like an absolute god on.
Oh, and I love the Sejuani pick. I was literally just about to say we start running into the issue of too much damage, not enough security. Obviously, Thresh is there, but your Thresh isn't the same as a 3-item Ornn. The Sejuani is obviously this pretty strong early game, but can scale pretty okay into the mid game, and strong pick presence in the late game, can soak up a lot of damage. The Diana here, quite nice if you want to go for a bit more team fight. Wombo doesn't necessarily have that craziness, but Diana's an overall really strong jungle carry at the moment. I'm sure you've seen she has a lot of presence at the moment, but I am interested to see how both of these teams draft. I think they're both pretty strong drafts. I expect to see the... Do you think it'll be Diana or Graves mid lane? What are you feeling here, Ginger?
Listen, I'm at the point where I have my opinions of both drafts, and I'm just keeping them to myself. I'm done with the caster curse. I'm done with making my own team lose, making their team lose. I think I'm just unfair at this point. So
would you like me to give my analysis then?
If you're not afraid that you're gonna caster curse one of the teams, go for it. I'll give you confirmation on who is mid and who is jungle as they get into the client draft.
Okay, so Shen, let's talk about this. I was expecting something, again, as I said, I was expecting something like a hyper carry like the Corki for the mid lane. Obviously, the Shen is able to help facilitate his diving in play style. Obviously, needs to move in, move out. Corki has that crazy high burst damage. Diana works just as well for this, but not quite as hyper as Corki, as I would have liked to see crazy, insane damage output from a spellcaster. Diana is this burst assassin mage style character. Um, I assume I assume it has to be Graves jungle, right? Graves jungle, Diana mid, because I wouldn't expect to see Graves picked into this Victor. Could be mistaken, though. I'll have to see as we get into this draft. I like this safe bot lane from Team Shadow Spectres, forcing this Jinx to try and play as cautiously as possible. The nice counter to the Thresh. Thresh being an incredibly safe pick for these hyper carries like Jinx or Felios. If when you can't really afford to go for this enchanter, you want something a bit more proactive to get you some, movement around the map. Victor and Gangplank literally have mini games based around their scaling. They have their own little mechanics that gives them more and more, scaling options, etc., etc. And I feel like these guys are going to go crazy if they are able to reach the point that they are allowed to. Sejuani is going to be looking to make these early plays around the map and being able to match the presence of Team Shadow Spectres, which does not have a really
I
strong
have
early game
confirmation on where it is. Take a guess.
Diana mid, Graves jungle.
You're wrong.
Really?
Okay, well,
Go
okay.
on.
I was gonna disagree with you. I think Graves mid is just infinitely better into Victor. Diana just permanently gets bullied by Victor. There's no way that Diana could actually play the game. You're relying on her hitting a Q, which at a decent level, like this is Diamond, like that should just never happen if you're a good Victor.
Yeah,
Graves can pretty much perma-shove the wave and keep Victor under his tower, and Victor can't push back until he gets the upgraded E. So Graves effectively has perma-prio until level 9-ish. Which is very nice to have the Diana jungle who wants to just kind of full clear and you could protect her while you have two kind of weaker lanes.
Now, that's honestly really good that you've clarified this, because I was going to state, regardless of whether or not, Graves could have maybe covered this a bit better than Diana, but they don't really have this really, really strong early game kind of pick potential jungler. Again, obviously, Xinjiao Jarvan banned away, and being able to pick up the Sejuani on the side of Virtue Gaming means that they can look for some really early plays, try and snowball this Victor, snowball this GP. Obviously, Shen is kind of a weak side top lane, so maybe looking for some slight advantage state for this Gangplank, being able to play into maybe the lane bully play style the GP likes to go for, and look to try and snowball him into oblivion. I will not say, for the sake of both teams who I think won draft, because I think it's going to curse the game and come back to bite me in the ass, and I don't want the responsibility of being the cause of someone's loss, right? But I think both of these teams have crazy potential to win the game, and I think it's literally up in the air. I think it's completely up in the air who can win. That is a very, very, very frank assessment. I'm not saying that out of bias or just trying to avoid Casticus. I really think it's like a 50-50 chance for either team.
Yep, exactly dead even. I'm going to say it to avoid Caster Curse. No opinions, exactly dead even. Both teams drafted to perfect potential, and it's just player gap at this point. It's gonna be team gap. I think the most exciting pick for me, at least, is the Gangplank. I always love seeing Gangplank in the competitive sense. I think it's so cool seeing someone maybe getting a huge barrel and winning a fight, or maybe them screwing up a barrel and losing the entire game. Regardless, I agree with you. I think this game's gonna be super excited. I'm super happy we got a game 3. Both of these teams looking to really make a name for themselves early in the league and get out to an early 2-0 and be the teams to beat.
Absolutely. I'm really keen to see how this game plays. Hopefully should be getting into the game soon. Maybe going to a short break before the game starts, unless we are getting right into it.
No, we are still waiting for spectator delay, so I will transition us over to a short break while we wait for a game to start. But do not go anywhere, my lovely viewers. We have a game 3 coming up, a great late night Saturday night. Grab a snack, grab some drinks, be ready for an absolute banger. Virtual Gaming Grit versus Team Shadow Spectres. We will be right back. And welcome back, everyone, into a game 3 of the night. VG Grit versus Team Shadow Spectres. Once again, I am number 2 Ginger, joined by VMAC himself. We're looking for a fantastic game to end off the night, as it is quite late, by my EU friend. So he is looking to go to bed soon. So hopefully one of these teams can make it a quick one. If not, maybe we got a 50-minute banger on our hands, Mac.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
I'm gonna need more energy drinks, man. That's all I'm saying. If I take this to 50 minutes, I'm gonna be napping in bed. I'm gonna get myself tucked in before the end of this game. Basically, as much as maybe looking for an early play here from Bonusaur is ready.
Bonusaur was trying to make it a quick one, but Falson is not falling into that trap. However, oh no, he doesn't have first strike. He has Airy, so he didn't get any extra gold. So it's just a bit sad.
Okay, so let's talk about that. First strike, Airy over first strike. Why do you think they went there for that option? Because I keep seeing this done, and whilst to me it feels like first strike is better, I can understand maybe the Airy pick. Would you like to try and
first
that for me?
First strike, if you look in like Korea and China, first strike is only ever picked on champion, like Jace, for example. That's only ever picked on champions that can consistently proc it and always get the values. Like, it has to be kind of ranged versus melee. In this kind of lane, Falsman is looking to try to bully out the Graves and get as much damage as possible. But he's going to get a lot of times where, like, Graves just procs first strike before Victor can ever get any damage off, and then you just have a useless rune. So Airy is more just for the consistent damage, consistent help in lane. And, you know, I'm of the opinion that I think Airy is correct a lot of the time just because you can't get full efficiency out of first strike, and that seems to be the consensus in the regions like Korea and China, and then more in NA and EU, they like first strike a bit more. So, you know, it's more of a region gap, I guess.
Yeah, so Folson not necessarily trying to be a gambling man here. I respect it. Maybe understanding that he needs to play safe into this Graves pick, understanding that it is literally made to hard shove and apply as much pressure as possible, whether or not he's trying to bully him out of lane. He needs to be getting as much damage down as possible. As you can see here, Graves able to just cue the wave and catch him. First strike wouldn't have procced there maybe, but Nautilus respecting Mad Plague there, stepping forward. I want to see what goes down. So obviously GP is notorious for like that kind of lane bully thing. They toned it down a little bit to try and add a little bit more late game scaling power fantasy. But I wonder if Terra is able to effectively bully.
Oh, here comes the early flash onto the mid lane from the Isonator. Alpha D's just going to flash away himself, so flash for flash. Not terrible. A nice early cheese gank there.
That's really good on the side of VG Grit there, being able to remove that flash from the mid lane that applies so much more kill pressure. Alpha Day can no longer really step forward. You can't really step that far forward anymore as you have been.
Oh, nice hook coming out from Mad Plague there. Oh, misses the flay though, and oh, another hook coming in from Bonusaur though. He's looking for the counter engage. Invade's a little bit low, and 20 bucks name was trying to get some poke out, but the damage is straight. And the question I did want to ask you before we were really interrupted by the bot lane, and now we're being interrupted by the top lane. Never mind, Terra's going to get jumped on here by TSM Gable. The red buff flow is applied. Terra's already flashed away. He has the pots ticking, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. First blood coming out to the side of TSS Gabo.
This is crazy. This is crazy. It's off to a crazy start. What was that hook through those minions and then immediately missing the play? A great follow-up from Bonusaur. And then being able to capitalize off of the jungle pathing, knowing where Sejuani is. Very smart from Gabo. I'm really, really liking the look of this start, and obviously that early lead from Team Shadow Spectres is kind of what they need here in order to stop this crazy snowballing from VG Grit. But even then, VG Grit proving that they're able to be a bit more proactive, taking away that flash and Alpha Day really early, being able to land that crazy hook there from Mad Plague. I want to see more of this action. I want to see how this plays out. But overall, really well played. Maybe looking for a repeat gank here from Diana.
Yeah, Terra's wave is just completely out of control here. He's going to play in his minions. He has a chance to actually outplay this, how much damage his minions are going to do. 360 is going quite low. One more Q might do it. Terra no, the cooldown did not come up and was not able to take him down. 360 picking that one up this time. So the gold spread evenly between Gable and 360, and a really, really strong early game so far from TSS.
Yeah, it's honestly really okay. So Gabo has been getting progressively more and more warmed up as the games have gone on, more and more early proactive. It's what we needed to see in the first game, but didn't quite get. We saw more of a spark in it in the second game, and this is we're seeing Gabo unleashed. Gabo unleashed.
Oh, it's so bad for Terra.
God.
Oh, Terra's now down to 1 HP under his tower. He's used most of his potions. 360 is just going to walk back to lane with full HP. Terra can't TP back. His lane is going to be in a very bad position once again. This top lane is just pretty doomed. Izzo's going to start up the dragon to try to trade out, as it looks like Gab was actually going to invade the top side of VG, so it's going from bad to worse.
Oh my goodness. Hi. This is this Gabo Unleashed. I love to see it. This guy's getting crazier and crazier as each game goes on, and I love to see it. Obviously, trading that dragon down in the bot lane, not bad from Izzonator. Obviously, known to be like that proactive player throughout consistently pretty much all of these games. Well, maybe not so much the Poppy game, not as proactive as he could have been, but looking for that early trade at the start of the game, trying to understand map pressure and make up for what their losses are against Team Shadow Spectres, trying to match them in this
another
match
gate coming
macro.
on the top
Oh my
lane.
god,
Gabo
some
is
mercy,
back.
please.
Gabo does not like Terra. He was mad at that Gwen. He bullied his top laner too much. 0-3 on Terra in this gangplank. Gabo is just feasting right now.
I'd be sobbing. I'd be sobbing if I was Terra here. Gabo is taking absolutely no prisoners here. It is cyberbullying. It is cyberbullying. There's no slash mute all that's going to fix this, unfortunately, for the side of VG Grit. Whilst kind of expected at least one of the lanes is going to get bullied, but unfortunately I just don't think bot lane's being proactive enough for the fact that Terra is being absolutely obliterated in the top lane here, considering that they know where Diana basically is most of the time. There should be more action happening down in this bot side or across mid lane, especially when you burned that early flash, no?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Gabo is really just trying to force a vertical jungle right now, and he's doing a fantastic job of it. And Izzonator really isn't able to actually match all this pressure because he's playing this tank in Sejuani, right? He doesn't really have the tempo. He doesn't have the prio. And Sejuani just doesn't do a good job of answering fast play. And that's, I was looking for the Lisa in game one. Izzo showed on Zach that he could be proactive, but he's the captain. He's the one drafting. He's giving himself the picks for the team, but not for himself to make the team strong, as mid lane has a nice 2v2 going on, and we can see the minimap. Gabo is in the top lane again. Terra doesn't have flash up, and here comes the ulti now down onto Terra. TSS is going to get the flash taunt. It's just absolutely merciless onto Terra. He's going to drop the cannon barrage. He might be able to walk out of this one, but no. The Q into flash auto is just too much damage for Terra to deal with. 0-4 before 8 minutes.
That's all I have to say on the game. It's just, oh my god, please stop. At 360 is just, what a monster. He wants his punishment. He's been, right, you've been bullying me for too long. I've had enough. He's stood up. He's finally stood up for himself. But Bone is still trying to match. Never mind. Nothing going to happen too interesting in the mid lane. But it's really, really strong play here from the side of Gabo and 360. They are taking no prisoners here. They are having no mercy, and I'm not sure what VG Grit is doing around the map to match it. Other lanes do have a slot farm advantage of around 10 CS, both mid and bot lane, so maybe there's a slight advantage that can be taken and spiraled here if they're able to keep up this overall play, but I don't think it's going to be enough unless we start to see some crazy action happening. I feel like we need to have, whilst, okay, minimizing your losses in other lanes is good. Okay, one lane turbo behind, but you are now funneling a ton of gold into this Diana. So regardless of whether or not your Jinx does start getting a lead bot lane, does it matter if she's getting instantly exploded by your crazy fed Diana? I don't think so. So it's getting really, really hard, and there is a ticking timer when it comes to dealing with this Diana that needs to be answered, because that bot lane is going to have to face her wrath eventually. When she's done being up top lane, it's eventually just going to circle back round. You're going to start losing this objective priority when your jungler becomes crazy strong and isn't able to be contested, really. I do like the Merc's Tread rush here from Sejuani, understanding she's going to need to start taking that trade eventually and matching this Diana, but I'm still not sure that it is going to be enough to be able to trade against her in these early stages when she is so far ahead, probably going to hit that mythic item pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's really important to point out that all the gold has gone exactly where TSS wants it in this Diana instead of going on to 360. So it just, everything's working out. And, this is kind of the downside of VG's team comp. They're all scaling lanes. So even while TSS is making a play in the top lane, it's so hard to make something happen in mid or bot because, you know, Victor doesn't have the strength early. Jinx doesn't have the strength early. They want time. They need time. And even Sejuani doesn't have the ability to make up for that. She needs time as well. She's not the Lee Sin. She's not the Jarvan. Here comes a 3v2 in the mid lane. Ulti's going to miss from Isn't. Flash comes in from Bonersall looking for the play. He's going to drop the ulti on 2. Now Stan United's coming out while the big Moonfall coming out from Gabo does so much damage just early in the game. That's going to be 2 kills picked up in the mid lane on a huge collapse from TSS.
Oh, Bonesaur is ready, telling him he's going nowhere. Absolutely savage engage, followed up by Gabo there. My goodness, it is absolutely merciless. They are spiraling out of control. You're right. You're exactly right. Mad Plague maybe looking for a play here on Invade.
Invade caught out here. There's the Glacial Augment to slow him down. Mad Plague looking for the hook. Hasn't thrown it yet. Maybe look for the prediction. He's going to land the prediction, but 20 bucks was not there. Follow-up. He was not expecting that to land, and neither was I. Granted, nice play, though. Was going to get the heal down. Now Gabo is down. Looking for 20 bucks. Name is not going to go forward. Doesn't have the Moonfall, so the damage might not be there. And that is going to be a beautiful play by Mad Plague, but fortunately no follow-up. Crazy
hook, but unfortunately, again, as you're saying, no strong side lanes. You've drafted 3 weak side lanes. 3. That is not what you want to be.
Mad Plague flashes forward, gets the play, misses the hook prediction this time. If he got 2 in a row there, I mean, I might have just threw my headset out the window, assigned this guy to LCS, but that is going to be Dragon picked up over for TSS as a response. And yeah, they're chilling. The rocket came out, wasn't gonna kill, and things have slowed down a little bit.
Yeah, so starting to maybe try and reset tempo. Okay, Team Shadow Spectres gets the Drake here, able to get that kill mid, able to deny that kill bot lane. Gabo shows up, able to try and stop that. Now VG Grit needs to take a step back and understand, okay, what advantages can we start taking here, and how do we need to start playing around this team? Gabo will eventually slip up. We need to understand this. Maybe trying to burn away that Moonfall or trying to lock him down. But how can you lock down that Diana, really? She's got the Proto Belt. I assume she's immediately going to start building that Zhonya's Hourglass, which will make her an even more unstoppable problem when she dives into 3 of your team and she goes golden and half your team is now half HP. We need to see answers soon. Is all I'm going to say. VG Grit needs to think of something soon, because the longer and longer they leave this, the worse and worse it's going to get. There's only so much scaling you can depend on when they are going to be in your base by the time you finally hit your power spike.
Yeah, I mean, Terra is able to survive in this lane in a straight 1v1 if there's no more encounters up here. He's clearly doing fine on his own. Shen really doesn't have too much kill threat in a lane like this. Looks like he's going for that hull breaker first, so he is going to be a bit of a threat in the 1v1, you know, that 150% gold efficiency item, as it looks like VG might be looking for a dive here in Alpha Day all alone in this bot lane. Nice play coming out. Mad Plague's going to be tanking the tower, takes one more as Isn't locks up Alpha Day, and that is going to be 20 bucks name taking up the kill. So a nice play by VG there, showing some proactivity and signs of life.
That's exactly what I was talking about. This is what I want to see, and very, very well played on the name of VG Grit.
In response, it looks like Falson's caught in the mid lane here. He has no flash, is going to go down to 1 HP, and that is going to be a Stan United coming out, but Gabo's going to tank tower. No flashes over the wall, and now 360 is here as Invade Arcane shifted away to make sure you didn't fall down to Terra there, but Izzo on the flank here, flashes on Invade, kills him with the blue smite. A nice pickup. Retail being dropped by Gabo in the mid lane. Terra is here to clean up the wave and make sure no significant amount of gold is picked up from that Reptile. It's going to be close. It might take down the tower. I think it'll have a little bit of HP left. It does. So it's going to be mid lane tower surviving, but going down very soon. But actually, it's so good for VG as they get first tower in the bot lane. A huge influx of gold going to go on 20 bucks name here as 360 is now here on the flank. Sums on 20 bucks name, so he should be able to flash the taunt. Every skill ability coming out. Lantern looking. There goes the taunt. It was a little bit early. Mad Plague might go down here. 1 HP is surviving. 360 flashes for, but that was just for support, my friend. You're giving a shutdown over to the ADC for doing that. God. Now Isernigger's walking down Alpha Day. He's getting the CC down. 20 bucks name misses the slow. Isernigger gets the stun, but now Gabo's here as well. He does not have flash, does not have Moonfall, but the Proto Bolt's going to give so much movement speed. The Cam Barrage is a little bit late, and 20 bucks name is gonna go down. So much chaos across the map.
That is absolutely crazy. I'm not sure about that play from 360 there. He's not on that Inting Sion anymore. He doesn't need to be doing that.
He's on Inting Shen.
No, River Shen. That's what I want to see in my games. But yeah, really well played by the side of VG Grit, understanding that they need to start taking up these leads again. I was going to say, right before that fight started, there was only zero point 0.4 gold difference between the two teams. VG Grit is catching up. Now it is gone up slightly to 1k gold diff, but that is much less than there was at the start. I'm really, really glad to see VG Grit being a bit more proactive. Gonna lose the tower here. The gold difference is gonna go up. You're gonna lose 2 towers here, actually. So speaking about being proactive, Team Shadow Spectres making sure that they snap back and take back some of that pressure that they had lost.
Uh-oh, Falson gonna step into where Boner Saw. He is ready! Boner Saw getting the CC lockdown right into Gabo's waiting hands, and Falson is gonna drop down. So much damage and absolute control of the bot side jungle. Just another macro masterclass, in my opinion, from TSS here.
How dare you step into your own jungle? How dare you not understand vision lines? I've spoke about vision lines before and I'll speak it again. So, both bot lane and mid lane have lost their tier 1 towers. You have no longer got a safe vision line. Try and draw a line from tier 1 tower in mid to tier 1 tower in bot. That is your safe vision line. You have complete control of that jungle. Now draw a line from tier 2 to tier from mid and bot, and that is the safe vision line you have in that bot lane there. That does not include that part of the jungle. You no longer have any vision control or the ability to step forward. You are out of position when you start playing that far forward, especially when you have that limited vision that has been swept out by Bonasaur. So very... I'm not going to say poor play, but very cocky on the side.
Izzo looking for the dive here, maybe on top lane with Terra. Is going to drop the ultimate. I don't know if they have the damage for this on TSS. He's going to drop the W. Now he just takes 0 damage. Izzo going to be taking tower. Terra is next. TSS is still alive here. 360 eventually going to go down. So a nice dive came out. It looked a bit sussy at first, but they did have the damage with 20 bucks name up there. But in a return, it looks like Dragon is going to go over to the side of TSS while 20 bucks name picks up the tower for himself. So VG again still trying to make some plays happen. Always nice to see.
Yeah, it's both teams realizing, okay, we need to start stepping up, understanding that, well, Team Shadow Spectres managed to get this early lead. VG Grit cannot let them get away with it, trying to funnel as much gold into this Jinx as possible. Already hit 2 items now, so actually ahead of this Ezreal, I think, in the gold. Ezreal has not received much gold at all throughout this game. Everything's basically been funneled onto the Diana, but she does have this Sonny's Hourglass. She is a monster now. She gets into a team fight, and that's not what we've seen yet. We have not seen a big team fight yet in this game, because that is when Diana starts going crazy. Okay, she's got that pick potential, but overall her team fight is her strongest element, and I feel like Team Shadow Spectres could go crazy when it comes down to this 5v5.
Yeah, I mean, TSS just has that permanent team fight just threat with the Diana. Already at 2 items, has the Zanies, like you said, so it's going to be so much harder to actually burst down, even if Sejuani's able to lock her down. Terra now going aggressive on Alpha Knight at the top lane here. Remember, Alpha Knight has the Hullbreaker, so he is a bit strong. Terra's going to lose his own Hullbreaker resistance because he has 3 other members up here, but I don't think it's going to matter. Alpha Knight is not in a great situation, and more gold going over to 20 bucks name. 4-1 now at 2 items. You know, the win con...
Let's the bot lane real quick, because they're about to siege on bot lane.
Oh,
here. They're
yeah,
going to trade
Falsely
that
getting
tower.
a bit pushed up here. Is going to have to flash away from Gabo, so drops the flash there. Cannon Barrage is actually going to come out from Terra to clear the wave, so TSS has to take a little bit extra time finishing this. Invading in the meanwhile, taking down mid tower. So, you know, while VG's making these plays, they're losing a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, ulti comes down onto Falson. Bonersaw taking the 1v1. You're Nautilus, buddy. I don't know if you could do that now. Is there a catch out game? They can get this kill. It's such a huge shutdown. Stand United comes out. He's surviving a little bit longer. It's a 4v2. Can they kill anyone? Terra so low, the Zanias, but the barrel's going to come out immediately. It gets popped by Invade. A nice auto attack. Terra just doesn't have the damage. No one has the damage. He gets the triumph here. He's going to survive. It's a 5v2 now. Isn't running? That was the play that needed to happen, but it did not come through. Huge play by TSS to keep the game in their favor.
Someone chalked that up to luck, but I call that all skill, baby. That Diana was clinging on by a
Falsely
single
gets popped by Alpha.
Oh my god. This is crazy. This game is going wild, and I absolutely love it. They are playing on the absolute edge here. I thought Nautilus was trolling a little bit, but maybe trying to act as a distraction, trying to keep Falson away from that team fight, understanding that Diana is low and out of position. Gonna get caught out there by that Shen. Excellent stand United. Really well played by the Ezreal, popping that barrel as soon as it got popped down, making sure that Diana cannot get exploded before she comes back up. Really, really well played, getting these resets on Diana, getting that triumph up so she is able to stay in that healthy position for as long as possible. That shutdown is a huge thing for VG Grit to try and find here, and being able to not get that on that gangplank, which it would have gone to, which would have been absolutely huge on the side of VG Grit, is really, 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 really well played by TSS here. Really well done, and honestly, nice try from VG Grit as well, trying to make something happen there.
Yeah, I mean, VG Grit's still hanging in. They're only down 4,000 gold. They do have a dragon, so Soul is not going to happen for at least a little bit. And they have the scaling. You know, Victor, Jinx, Gangplank, like, I don't think anybody's going to argue that scales absolutely monstrally. Gable looking for Falson again. Gable doesn't have the flash, and Falson doesn't either. He's going to get the E onto the minion. That's going to allow him to E right back onto Falson. And Falson, you just cannot survive that. It's too much damage. What's the counterplay? Hook is coming down on the Boner Saw. He's going to get a little bit caught out here. Able to take some of the damage. The 20 bucks name now gets a reset. TSS is going to be on the retreat. Gable as well. The slow is going to come out. I don't know if they can keep chasing 360. He has flash to get away if he needs to. But it looks like 360 is going to walk that one out. Mad Plague wants more, but it's not going to find it.
I'm not sure about that Super Mega Death Rocket. Probably could have saved it for that Drake, especially if Team Shadow Spectres has that Drake Pry. You can try and steal it away with that Jinx Rocket execute. Not going to be up for that dragon fight, I imagine. I could be wrong. I'm not sure about that exact cooldown. Looks like it's actually coming up really quickly. Holy Moses, I did not think it was going to be back up for this team fight. But it could be up for the dragon. But really well done picking out that Nautilus there. Understanding that, okay, out of position here. Maybe getting a little bit too cocky, too big for their boots. But yeah, as
look
you said,
look at Jinx's item. She
scaling.
doesn't have IE in time for this dragon.
That's rough. That is really, really rough. That is gonna gut their team fight potential here. So close to, I imagine. Were we able to see each person's specific gold here, or were we unable to do that?
Yes, I can press the X key. As Alpha Day doesn't care about Falson's gold. He's going aggressive. Flashes forward on the Falson. Falson has no flash, but he's running right into Isonator. But that Hullbreaker just made sure Alpha Day takes 0 damage. He's effectively a tank, but now Isonator's on the hunt. I honestly think Alpha Day might win this. Never mind, it's a 4v1. I didn't see the rest of the minimap. I'm a bit blind myself. That's how it goes in solo queue. But Alpha Day gonna go down here. The gold is gonna go over to 20 bucks name. It's a shutdown. He is feeling pretty rich. And VG is going to push into the top lane. Well, it looks like TSS is going to respond by pushing in the mid lane. Terra is here. He has the barrels to try to wave clear. Let's see if he can. Some members of VG is now resetting. There goes the barrel. And there goes the wave. Pop, pop, bye-bye.
I like VG's decision there, understanding that Jinx does not have this power spike ready for this team fight, trying to find something else around the map. Pretty smart decision making. Kind of risky to give up this dragon, especially in this point in the game. 3 Infernal Souls down onto the side of Team Shadow Spectres if they do, or 3 Infernal Drakes down onto the side of Team Shadow Spectres if they do get Soul Point here. Crazy high damage output will make it incredibly hard for VG Grit to survive these skirmishes, especially since they have no crazy strong front line other than that Sejuani. No offense to support tanks, but you're not really that tanky at the end of the day. But it's hard. It's hard for VG Grit, but they're trying to optimize this as well as they can. But unfortunately, Team Shadow Spectres is trying to match them in every element. So it is just it's not quite a stalemate, because I'd say Team Shadow Spectres still has this edge, that 3k gold lead, still has the overall pressure, understanding that they can afford to play safe because it kind of is Grit stepping into their territory here, that Diana can burst everyone down when necessary, and Grit is kind of like stepping over the glass here that is left on the ground, understanding that they need to safely scale. But there is a timer. There is a hidden timer here for Team Shadow Spectres, and it is getting closer and closer to Doomsday. It is almost 0 hours to midnight, or 0 minutes to midnight, sorry. But we'll have to see how this fight plays out. Maybe looking for a skirmish around the Baron here. Good vision line set up on the side of VG Grit.
Yeah, TSS definitely in the driver's seat here, looking for all the control, all the plays. Terra's going to match Alpha Day in this bot lane. I don't know how long he's going to be able to do that, but VG are the ones that are going to have to step in into TSS, waiting hands. Gabo looking for the play. Mad Plague's actually going to land the hook, and here comes the CC on it down to Gabo. He's going to find a way on to 20 bucks name, though. Flashes away. The CC is going to come through. Sandy United's here. Can they kill him? And that is going to be the flash play on from TSS to take down 20 bucks name. Now the fight's going to go in such nice favor for TSS, as that was the only threat on the side of VG, and that's going to be an absolute wipe for for the side of TSS. They killed the president. Mr. President was not able to be saved, and now it's just an absolute slaughter. Terra getting bullied on this bot lane. Like I said, I don't know how long he was going to be able to stand out there, and it wasn't very long, even with the cannon barrage to help the fight. It's not enough. Baron going over to TSS, along with possibly that bot tower.
Yeah, that is exactly what I'm talking about. That Diana is able to just jump back on that Jinx, who is your supposed hyper carry, your main ability, your main team fight damage output right now, while Gangplank is reserved to being super minion, right? Clearing out these waves, trying to stop this Graves shoving into this bot side and securing that inhibitor. It's hard when you burst down that Jinx. The Victor almost manages to catch her down, and she barely scrapes away with her life. That shutdown could have been really big, a lot more damage output that wouldn't have made it so that you have to rely so much on that Jinx pick, especially with that Diana able to just jump down and burst.
Oh, Madplay gets the hook onto Alpha Day. Alpha Day has no flash, no mana. It looks like he's going to go down to 20 bucks in him here. He's trying to trade a kill back, and he is doing a lot of damage. But unfortunately, with no mana, no ulti up, he's not able to take down 20 bucks in him. Going to take that gold right into the base.
Look at how much damage output Jinx has as well. She was shredding through that, but at the same time, still matched by that Graves. And Graves almost killed that Jinx. That is how Graves works, unfortunately for ADC players. But yeah, it just shows that Jinx is this character to play around. She's starting to get places. She has that 3-item power spike. She's got that IE now. Probably looking for that RFC soon. Has the potion in her pocket, ready for a team fight. Ready for something to happen. Victor picking up that Void Staff here should give him a lot more burst potential. We're starting to see some movement here.
This is
on
the fight.
Side of VG. This has to be.
This is so VG is here.
Fight.
They want to contest. Terra's still in that top lane, split pushing, but Alpha Day has just spawned. He's not TPing in. He has a flank on the bot lane if he wanted to TP
He
on
has
the
cannon
minions.
barrage up right now though.
Alpha Day is
Terra.
going to match Terra. That's actually really good for VG, I think. You don't want Alpha Day in this fight. So it looks like it's just going to be a straight 4v4. Here comes the TP from Terra into the fight now. And that's going to be a TP or Alpha Day match. So it's going to be a straight 5v5 here. We're just complete NAing. Who's going to engage first? Who's going to look for the fight? There's no macro here. This is just straight I'm better than you kind of vibes. It's all going to be on 20 bucks team to win this fight for VG, who has no flash. Gabo has no flash either. So it's going to be very hard for them to find an engage. Alpha Deus is on the flank here. Dragon is started here. It looks like VG's going to start doing it. 20 bucks name is going to build up. There comes the Glacial. Huge hook onto Invane. Visioners inners in the back. Stand Unite's going to come out to take Invane alive. But here comes the flank. 20 bucks name is going to go down.
Oh
Gabo
my God.
gets a huge double kill onto the backline. Gabo kills the backline of VG, and it's all falling apart, isn't it? It goes down to the Infernal Dragon. The disrespect. Madplay going down. TP's coming in. And TSS Gabo, give a hand for this man winning the game and the series for Team Shadow Spectres.
He needed a little bit of time to come online, but that's all he needed was that game one. Gibson the mentally understands he's going to get this pick out. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's just rude. It's just rude and disrespectful, but that Moonfall was
He's earned
absolutely...
it.
That Moonfall was excellent in that final fight, catching out both of the carries, making it so hard, and in fact, no, not even so hard, impossible for them to bring that back. Really, really well played. I think it's pretty undisputed, but for this series, MVP has to go to Gabo, right? Surely.
Yeah, I mean, game one was rough. I think we could both admit that. But game two and game three were just master classes of the tempo and making the plays and being all the right spots you had to be to get these kills. I mean, those 4 repeat yanks on top were just absolutely disgusting. I feel like so many junglers will get an early kill or two and be like, all right, you're strong enough, go do it on your own. But Gabo said, no, I want these kills. This is my gold. Let's bully this Gangplank pick and punish it. And man, did he do so much work.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to agree. One excellent game on the side of TSS. Both teams played excellently. Unfortunately for VGG, TSS is the victor here. Really well played by both sides, and I'm excited to see how these teams develop throughout the league. And congratulations to Gabo for being an absolute beast in that final game. Really, really, really well played.
Yeah, awesome GG's over to TSS. Congratulations on hopping to 2-0. VG Grit is going to fall down to 1-1, but have no fear. We have another VG Grit game coming out to you real soon. In fact, tomorrow at 8 p.m. Mac, I believe you are casting with me on that one as well.
Absolutely.
So make sure you guys tune in tomorrow. VG Grit's going to be going against Dorado Gaming Epsilon as their week 3 match. This match was rescheduled from last week due to I don't the Super Bowl, right? That's the holiday. So they were allowing.
What's a Super Bowl? Is that a cereal? I don't know what that is. I'm sorry, guys. I'm too foreign
All
for
right.
that.
This guy EU, yeah. Football, footsie, whatever.
Well, nah, it's not soccer. It's football. And listen, if the French
It's a
say
Super Bowl,
football,
exactly. Football.
oh, you say, oh, okay. Well, now I know. Okay, thank you for explaining, my friend. That makes it so much
All
easier
right.
for
Before
me.
we punch each other through the screen, I think let's wrap it up for the night. You have to go to bed. You've been up very late. It was a 3-game series for you. I think you wanted a 2-game series. But thank you so much again for casting with me, Mac. I'm excited to join you back tomorrow. And thank you to all of our viewers who tuned in tonight. Have a great night. And hopefully we'll see you guys tomorrow.